The following is a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. Tokyo, Japan, one of the world's greatest cities, host to one of baseball's biggest events. Round 2 of the World Baseball Classic opens with 4 very different teams. A powerful Cuba team whose bats are now alive and delivered when it counted most. No longer Cinderella of the tournament, the Kingdom of the Netherlands looks to prove that its run in 2009 was no accident. Chinese Taipei has come roaring into Tokyo. They have the most to gain and little to lose. And the host team, Japan, the 2-time champs, they need a change in momentum. They'll look to their 10th man in the dome on their quest for a 3rd title. It all begins tonight, the battle to get to San Francisco. From Tokyo, Game 1 is next. Good afternoon from Tokyo. Welcome to the second round, Pool 1, Game 1, and it's a terrific matchup, Netherlands against Cuba. Hi everyone, Rich Waltz along with Buck Martinez. Now you managed in 2006. Once you get into the second round, everything changes. It's a double elimination format, and you can tell from both clubhouses the pressure's been turned up.
There's certainly a lot of pressure, Rich, and you can tell by the managers of these two respective teams. They have drawn their aces for today's game. Once you lose momentum, you'll never get it back. Remember, this is a very short tournament. Win 2 and you're on. Lose 2 and you go home.
Well, momentum is squarely on the side of Cuba right now, and they got that momentum with their bats. They're big bats. You go up and down the lineup filled with big bats. Alfredo de Spain is not the tallest guy, maybe not the biggest guy, but man, is he powerful.
Alfredo de Spain was the MVP in the first round for Cuba, and the thing about him is he wants to have a good tournament. Back in 2009, he hit just .235 with 2 runs driven in. Cuba was booted out in the second round. He doesn't want that to happen. He's one of many very potent bats in this Cuban lineup.
Speaking of having a good tournament, Andrew Jones for the Netherlands has had a great tournament coming in. Of course, a longtime major leaguer, all the Gold Gloves, 10 of them, all-star appearances. He comes in with that postseason feel, and these games have that postseason feel.
Yeah, Andrew Jones has done an awful lot for the confidence of this ball club. He's a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they have really leaned on him for his leadership. You mentioned all those great postseason appearances. He has 10 postseason career home runs. This is like the postseason for Andrew Jones. He might not get another opportunity on the international stage in such an intense ball game like this today.
On this stage in the Tokyo Dome, this is Game 1 of what is a pivotal doubleheader today. Chinese Taipei and Japan meet later tonight. But first we start with Netherlands and Cuba. Roger Bernardino of the Washington Nationals. You'll see him in center field. Wait till you get a load of Jose Abreu of Cuba. Place the Big Egg in downtown Tokyo. The Tokyo Dome, the Teflon roof above, home of the Yomiuri Giants and home for Game 1 here today. Let's take a look at the Netherlands starting lineup. Andrelton Simmons of the Atlanta Braves. Jonathan Schoop is at second. Schoop had that game-winning hit in the gold medal game in the World Cup against Cuba. Roger Bernardino in center. Vladimir Valentin, a home run champ twice over in Japan. Andrew Jones, Xander Bogaerts. Kurt Smith is at first. Kalian Sams is in left field, and Dashenko Ricardo will do the catching for the Netherlands.
Well, we mentioned the ace of these two ball clubs going to the mound tonight, and it's Ishmael Jimenez, who will start at 27 years old. We saw him pitch against Brazil. He went 4 2/3, allowed just 4 hits. Didn't allow a run, didn't walk a batter, but he struck out 6. He's not overpowering by any means. but he's one of those guys that can pitch out of tough situations. Whenever he gets in a jam, he has the ability and the confidence to pitch out of it. We saw him come up with a big out in the game against Brazil when he had a couple of runners on. He hung a breaking ball. It was hit deep to center field, but he got out of that inning. That was a big threat for Brazil in the third inning of that ball game. He won't get rattled. He will come at you with a wide assortment of pitches, and Victor Mesa figures that this is the guy to get them off to a good start in this pool. Well, Mesa's got a good outfield and guys that can cover a lot of ground. Alfredo Despin is in left field. Guillermo Heredia is the guy that ran that drive down in center field. He's a terrific outfielder. Alexi Bell in right. Ilieski Gurriel is the third baseman, and Areu Abuena is the shortstop. Jose Fernandez has had a great tournament at second base, and the big sluggers at first, Jose Abreu. Ariel Sanchez is behind the plate, as he's been for each of the games in this World Baseball Classic.
So ready to go. Cuba has a tremendous amount of momentum coming in here. They look dominant in Fukuoka, beating Brazil, wiping out China, and a 6-0 lead late against Japan when a variety of relievers gave up 3 runs late in that ball game. So at 3-0, Cuba facing the Netherlands. Everybody's even though today as we hit round 2, and the first pitch, a breaking ball, a strike to Andrelton Simmons. Simmons, the very talented and young shortstop. He's 22. Freddie Gonzalez and everybody else in Atlanta just so high on this youngster. And he played well last year. In 49 games, hit .289. And a breaking ball from Jimenez misses outside. The count is 1-1.
Yeah, the only thing that kept him from playing more than those 49 games, he broke a finger sliding into second base, attempting to reach second on a double. That knocked him out for a little over a month.
Jimenez, another slider and a high chopper. Gurriel at third, crossed the diamond just in time to get Simmons. So we're underway, and Cuba has it out.
The intensity of baseball has increased dramatically. You could see Gurriel wanted to unload in a hurry. Simmons runs well. There's a lot of speed in the lineup for the Netherlands. Not a lot of stolen base speed, but out of the box, they'll get down the line in good shape.
Jonathan Schoop is 21, and Schoop, one of the top prospects in Baltimore's organization, was the minor league player of the year for the Orioles back in 2011, and he had a brother who played on that Cinderella 2009 team, Charlon Schoop. Jimenez has something going on out on the mound with his glove.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a lace problem on his glove, and it might have come loose. That's pretty universal right there. A player using his teeth to untie the glove before he has to reset it, but that knot has come loose in the base of the webbing of his glove.
Give us a chance to talk about the Tokyo Dome, a different venue certainly from Fukuoka. Fukuoka hosting round 1, home of the SoftBank Hawks. This, of course, the Yomiuri Giants home. Alfonso Marquez behind home plate. You got Jerry Davis at first. Trevor Grieve, a Canadian umpire, out at second. And Carlos Ray is at third base out of Puerto Rico. The glove is fixed, and here is Schoop, 1 for 9. That one was a home run in Taichung in the first round for the Netherlands. And Jimenez misses in, and it's 1-0. This is a noon start Tokyo time.
That breaking ball caught the inside corner. We mentioned Jimenez will throw a lot of different breaking balls, and he will pitch backwards. He will use his breaking ball in fastball counts. He's tremendously unpredictable.
He's only 5'10", but powerfully built at 215 pounds.
He pitched in 4 games during the 2009 World Baseball Classic. That tied for the team lead in appearances. But now he's a starter, and he's a guy that they want to get this team off on the right foot.
Outside corner for a strike. He beat Brazil 5-2, went 4 2/3, didn't give up a run. In 09, he was 1-0 in those 4 games with an ERA in the mid-3s. And the count's even on Jonathan Schoop. Roger Bernardina and Vladimir Valentin after Schoop, and there's the heat, 89 miles an hour on a fastball, and down goes Schoop.
Yeah. Jimenez will put breaking ball in your mind, and even though he's not overpowering, the fastball upstairs looks a little bit harder than 89 miles an hour because with 2 strikes, you're thinking breaking ball. But he does a good job to elevate that fastball and get his first strikeout.
There is Hensley Meulens, the manager of the Netherlands, also the hitting coach for the world champion San Francisco Giants. He's been a part of Bruce Bochy's staff for both world championships. He, along with Andrew Jones, have so much weight with the players in Curacao that the team here in 2013, Buck, has such a different feel than 2009.
Yeah, it sure does. You see Andrew Jones sitting in front of Meulens, anxious to get an at bat. He's the DH, and you're right. Andrew Jones, obviously the best baseball player in the Netherlands history, and when Andrew Jones made it to the big leagues, a lot of youngsters looked up to him and all of a sudden wanted to become big league players, much like Jones.
That's like a lot of the players in Curacao, a lot of the players on this roster grew up as Atlanta Brave fans because they were watching on the Superstation, they were watching Andrew Jones. Ball in the dirt, Bernardina skips out of the way. Now the Netherlands didn't tear the cover off the ball down in Taichung. They were 2-1. They lost 8-3 to Chinese Taipei. They hit just .216, but one thing they did, they got on base. They drew 15 walks in 3 games. One-two pitch coming to Roger Bernardina. Jimenez with a pitch count up to 80 pitches. The pitch limit raised from the first round where it was 65. Now starters can go 80. And both managers would like to get the maximum out of their starters here in game 1, obviously.
That's one thing that the Netherlands has done very well throughout this tournament is throw strikes.
Breaking ball, and we saw this in Fukuoka. The Cubans are very animated on the field, and when they think there's a strike, everybody moves.
Sanchez, the catcher, is the regular catcher for Jimenez, and he thought that was strike 3. And they did this with Marquez down in Fukuoka when Marquez was behind the plate, so I'm sure he's used to it by now, but certainly doesn't appreciate being shown up by the catcher.
Here's a 3-2. And Bernardina takes a pitch in almost the same spot. You can see the displeasure in Jimenez's face. And this is what the Netherlands did well in round 1. They got on base. They didn't hit the ball that well, but Bernardina's aboard. He's got base stealing speed. And here comes a guy that you can hear the ovation. The Japanese fans that are here, they know this guy. Vladimir Valentin, former big leaguer, is a 2-time home run champ here in Japan for Yakult, the Swallows.
Hit 31 home runs last year, and we have talked about Shinosuke Abe, the catcher for Japan. He was second to Valentin with 27 home runs, so he knows this ballpark, and he certainly has the power to give the Netherlands an early lead.
Now the Netherlands did not steal a base despite all the team speed. Bernardina's at first. If you're going to steal a base, this isn't a bad time to do it. Well, you've got your power hitter in Valentin, who is 28, spent 3 seasons in the big leagues with Seattle. Popped it up behind the plate, and it's out of play.
Yeah, Valentin has big power, obviously. He's got fans here in Japan as well. And with Jimenez, you can bet he's really going to try to slow his bat down. You saw the first pitch, slow breaking ball. Valentin was out in front. You can bet there's a little bit of extra energy in these players here as they open up this second round. And they'll take an inning or two, maybe an at-bat or two, before they really calm their nerves and kind of get into the flow of this game.
Jimenez has thrown 15 pitches here. in the first inning. We're just underway. If you've just joined us, Netherlands and Cuba, they met in the championship game of the World Cup in 2011. And as Buck pointed out, Jonathan Schoop had the game-winning hit in that one, and Netherlands won. Bernardina is running, Valentin is hitting, and it's into center field, a base hit. Around second is Bernardina. Up with the ball is Heredia, and the Netherlands with runners at the corners. And here comes Andrew Jones. These Japanese fans are squarely behind Vladimir Valentin.
There's another breaking ball, and this one stays out over the plate. It enables Valentin to get to it. Bernardino was on the move on the pitch. Easily cruises over to the third, so the Netherlands threatening right out of the chute.
When last we saw Victor Mesa, the skipper of Cuba, he was parading to the mound in the 8th and the 9th inning in the game against Japan at record pace. And he's out already to talk to his starter, Ismael Jimenez.
Mesa used 6 relievers in that final game down in Fukuoka, and it's hard to fathom that Mesa didn't have a conversation with Jimenez about Andrew Jones prior to this at bat. But he's very animated, and he's not going to leave anything to chance. You'll get used to that throughout this pool.
All right, here is Andrew Jones now, and Jones 3 for 7 in Taichung. He was patient. He walked 4 times. And he's up now with Valentin at first, Bernardina at third. And Jimenez in a bit of a jam.
Andrew Jones has lost a little bit of bat speed at this stage of his career, but he has become a much better breaking ball hitter. His last year in the major leagues with the Yankees, teams tried to pound him inside with fastballs, but if you made a mistake with a breaking ball, he could hurt you.
A dozen years with the Atlanta Braves and a ton of postseason experience. Well, there's the fastball, and it's a strike at 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, and Andrew's sitting on breaking ball. You could see by his approach there how he is looking breaking ball. He has signed a contract to play here with the Rakuten Golden Eagles this summer. Signed a 1-year contract, and he will be very popular here in Japan.
That after the last 2 years with the Yankees. Jimenez ready. And the 1-1 pitch. And there's the fastball. He busts it in. It's been a long inning for the Cuban starter. His pitch count at 20.
That's a big concern. And that's the one thing. I don't think Mesa is concerned about pitch count as much as he is about Jimenez getting out of this. Jimenez has done such a good job of pitching out of jams. We mentioned he was in an early jam against Brazil in round 1.
Fastball up and in, and now it's 3-1.
But you can certainly see Andrew Jones' experience. You take a look at that ball that was ball 4 that kept the inning alive with 2 outs. The Cubans felt like they had made a couple of good pitches to Bernardina, but he worked them for a 2-out walk.
Well, you saw him sitting breaking ball. You would think at 3-1 he's going to get something straight. We'll see. Fastball missed high, and Jones has walked again. The Netherlands has the bags loaded. And Xander Bogaerts, another young player, is coming up. He's just 20. Bogaerts 1 for 8. And the bases are filled by the Netherlands. And here is Bogaerts. Bogaerts, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, the top prospect for the Boston Red Sox.
Well, and you can see he's 6'3" and just 20 years old. He's going to fill out and become a pretty good offensive player.
First pitch is in, and all of a sudden Ismael Jimenez, who didn't walk anybody in his start against Brazil, has walked 2 and has fallen behind 1-0.
Well, he's facing a much more experienced lineup than he faced against Brazil. Bogaerts plays in the minor leagues. He understands you got to get a good pitch to be effective as a hitter, and he, like Andrew Jones and Bernardina, are making Jimenez work.
Bogaerts has big power. Last year in the minor leagues, 20 homers, 37 doubles. And he uses the breaking ball to get himself a strike. Now the bullpens here, just like Fukuoka, are hidden from the field, but of course we've got cameras there. And the Cuban pen is ready to go. Victor Mesa is not fooling around.
Well, you see the left-hander Norberto Gonzalez pitched so well in his outing in Fukuoka, but Victor Mesa is really kind of hamstrung with Gonzalez in that there's only one left-hander in the Netherlands lineup.
1-1 pitch. The slider has been his best pitch here in the first inning.
Gets that one in a good spot down and away. Now, if you're Bogart, you've got to be thinking, okay, he threw me another breaking ball. Now with 2 strikes, he's probably going to use it again. But the experience of Jimenez served him well against Schoop when he elevated a 2-strike fastball and struck him out for the second out of the inning.
That's when he started to wobble. He walked Bernardina. Valentin singled. He walked Jones. And the count evens now at 2-2.
To me, this is the pitch of the at-bat for Jimenez. 2-2. You don't want to allow the base runners to get a running start with a full count and 2 outs. Make a pitch here and get a resolution to this at-bat.
You see Valentin in your screen. Bernardina's at third. Andrew Jones is at first, and they're not holding Jones. The 2-2. Breaking ball, and he battles and hangs in there.
If Jimenez had just a little more fastball, it's a perfect time to elevate. He's got Bogarts thinking about breaking balls down and away. He did a good job of fouling that last pitch off. But his fastball, just 88, 89 miles an hour, it might not be enough to get it by Bogarts.
You saw Bogarts turn to Alfonso Marquez and ask him if that pitch was a strike. So 2-2 again. Bases loaded, just underway. Breaking ball, a high chopper. Gurriel across the diamond in time, and Cuba gets out of it. Ishmael Jimenez took a long time to get through the first, but he gets the ground ball, and we're underway and scoreless. Victor Mesa, the skipper of Cuba, talking with Ariel Sanchez, his catcher, about a shaky first inning for Ishmael Jimenez. Though he did not give up a run, he did throw 27 pitches. And so Cuba gets their first swings here in Tokyo as round 2 opens. And Diego Marquel on the mound for the Netherlands. And Marquel misses outside to Guillermo Heredia.
Marquel's 32 years old, and he has pitched 7 years in the Blue Jays minor league system.
Smacked into right field. Heredia rolls it out to Valentin in right, and Cuba's off to a good start. They've got their leadoff man aboard. Cuba's lineup is packed with punch. You've seen Heredia. Alexei Bell is in right field. Jose Fernandez has had a terrific tournament. You see he's got 5 hits and a double. He scored 6 runs. Frederick Cepeda starts the power with Jose Abreu, Alfredo Despain, and Yulieski Gurriel. Power hitters all. Ariel Sanchez, the catcher. Barbaro Arrua Barruena is the shortstop. Buck and I worked on that all throughout the flight from Fukuoka into Tokyo yesterday.
Did we ever? Practicing, and we didn't even get to Barbaro or Spedel. He's got all kinds of names, and he's a terrific player. You're going to enjoy watching him throughout this pool.
Cuba's got a lot of them. Here's the 29-year-old Alexei Bell. Marquel over to first. Now Cuba, they're the power team. And you see some of the scores from today. There's the stunner, the comeback from Italy. Sergio Romo, a blown save for Mexico, and Italy a come from behind win. The Dominican leads Venezuela 6-3 down in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
You talk about opportunities for a lot of different players in this tournament. Drew Butera hit a 2-run home run for Italy in that game. Butera has 5 major league home runs with the Minnesota Twins, but that definitely has to be the biggest at-bat of his life to knock off Mexico. Mexico committed an error, dropped the ball in the outfield that allowed Italy to score 2 runs, and it was a dramatic surprise win for Italy.
Now, both of those pools are first round. This is second round, and this has a very different feel. This, a lot of urgency here today to get a win, because the winner of the 2 games today will then play in 2 days, and you'll have somebody in 2 days who will be advancing to San Francisco. It's a modified double elimination. As well, tomorrow you'll have someone who is headed home. 2-0 pitch, and Markwell gets a strike on the outside corner.
Markwell's pitching coach is the Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven, and the one thing Blyleven has told his pitchers is throw it over. Let's don't walk anybody. Let's challenge these hitters to put it in play and trust our defense. Terrific infield defense for the Netherlands behind Markwell.
Markwell, a ton of international experience. You see the brain trust for the Netherlands. There's an awful lot of experience there as well. Here is the bracket later on tonight. Japan and Chinese Taipei. It'll air at 5 Eastern. And then it's a loser-loser game tomorrow, and the loser of that game goes home. The winners play the next day. The winner of that game is in, and the loser moves on to game 5. Up the middle, to his left is Simmons. Schoop with a turn, and that's the strength of the Netherlands. Pound the strike zone and let that speedy infield take over.
Yeah, and we talked about their mentality as pitchers. They want to put it in play and trust the infield. They're terrific infielders. As Simmons gets it, it's short. Easy toss to Schoop at second, who converts it easily. And just like that, that leadoff single is erased. Bert Blyleven, obviously a Hall of Fame pitcher, understands how you pitch. You pitch ahead and take away the aggressiveness of this Cuban lineup.
All right, here's Jose Fernandez, who had a terrific round 1, and he's backed up by Markwell. Fernandez, the second baseman for Cuba. If you're looking at prospects, I think you got to look at Fernandez. He's just 24. This is his first World Baseball Classic.
Fernandez has moved around in the lineup. He started out the tournament batting 7th, and here he is opening up the second round, hitting 3rd. Well, Victor Mesa, like any manager, is going to try to go with a hot hand. He's moved Fernandez up.
There's a strike. I'm not sure that Alfonso Marquez, a major league umpire, appreciates Cuba. Remember the pitch and the sequence to Roger Bernardina when the entire starting 9 started off the field on a pitch that did not look like a strike. And there, a pitch that looked like a strike, Fernandez was already on his way to first. 3-1. Lined into left field. Sams is there, and he dives, and it gets by him. And it rolls towards the wall. Fernandez to second, and he's there. And Kalian Sams diving for the ball in left, couldn't come up with it. Fortunately for him, it didn't roll all the way to the wall.
I don't know that he saw that ball very well off the bat. He didn't look like he got a real good read off it. Kind of jogged in, and then when he saw that he wasn't going to get to it, he had to leave his feet. It tips off his glove, and he's very fortunate, as you mentioned, that they weren't able to get Fernandez all the way over to 3rd.
It will go as a double. And now the power starts. Frederick Cepeda digs in. Cepeda, the designated hitter, the cleanup hitter, always hits well in international competition. His World Baseball Classic numbers in 06 and 09 combined, 444 with 5 home runs. As you can see, a veteran at 32. And power from both sides of the plate.
Markwell pitched against the Cuban team in exhibition play prior to the lead up to this tournament, and he shut him out for 5 innings. Bert Blyleven was really pleased with the way he pitched. He used just 51 pitches in 5 innings. Obviously pitching ahead and diffusing the aggressiveness of this powerful lineup.
Markwell's 1-1 pitch. Well, Bert Blyleven preached it in 2009 during that Cinderella run, and it's the same message now. Pound the strike zone. He wants his pitchers to throw strikes. Of course, a 2011 Hall of Fame inductee. And a man that was born in Holland. His family moved after he was 2 to Canada and then immigrated to the United States. And the man sitting to his right is Robert Einhorn. Einhorn, big league experience, and the head of Netherlands baseball, Hensley Meulens, on the left, the manager. He and Einhorn were in Yankees camp one year together. That pitch is outside, and Markwell, much like Jimenez, struggling with control right now.
Take a look at the defense behind Markwell. It's Psalms, Bernardina, and Valentine in the outfield. Roger Bernardina can really run them down in center. The infield has 3 shortstops around the infield. Bogarts, Simmons, and Schoop all have the ability to play shortstop. Kurt Smith is at first, and Dashenko Ricardo is behind the plate. They've got good infield range. They've got strong arms on the infield, and Simmons at short has a cannon.
One of the best hitters in the World Baseball Classic, any pool at the plate right now, and that's Jose Abreu. First and second, 2 outs, and Abreu shoots one fouling out of play.
Again, when we spoke with Victor Mesa before the game today, he said Abreu is a terrific run producer, and he's got a golden opportunity in the bottom of the first. We asked him about his approach. He said he's a very smart hitter. He understands what a pitcher is trying to do to him. And in this situation, like so many good run producers, he's thinking back up the middle, opposite field, taking advantage of this bases loaded situation.
This ballpark, the Tokyo Dome, is a little bit smaller than the Yahoo Dome in Fukuoka. Up the middle, Markwell knocks it down and gets the out. Both pitchers wobble in the first inning, but neither team scores. Round 2 is underway in Tokyo, and we are scoreless. Scoreless ball game, base runners and opportunities for both teams. World Baseball Classic schedule here in Tokyo later on tonight. This place will be absolutely packed and jumping. Japan against Chinese Taipei. And in Phoenix, play continues. Mexico takes on USA. Of course, Mexico surprised, stunned is a better word, by Italy.
Mexico will face R.A. Dickey, who will start for Team USA. Canada got some bad news. They lost their third baseman, Brett Laurie, who injured his rib cage diving for a ball in an exhibition game. So he will not participate.
Ishmael Jimenez facing Kurt Smith, Kalian Psalms, and Dashenko Ricardo. And that one is hit to left, and it's hit well. Back goes Despain to the wall. It's gone. Kurt Smith has given the Netherlands a 1-0 lead. Smith, the 26-year-old out of Curacao who played his college ball at the University of Maine.
Boy, what a big swing for the Netherlands. A leadoff home run after they had an opportunity with the bases loaded in the first. It's another breaking ball, and it's not in a bad spot. Smith has to reach for it. Look at the extension he gets and takes that top hand off the bat and drives it out of the ballpark. We had mentioned this ballpark is a little bit smaller than the ballpark in Fukuoka. And that time, Ishmael Jimenez couldn't keep it in the yard.
So Smith, who is actually looking for a job right now. He was with the Marlins in AA last year, and right now he's ticketed for independent ball But if he has a good tournament, you never know. That one's driven in the gap in left center. Heredia can't run it down. It bangs off the wall. Kalian Sams with a double. And right now, Ishmael Jimenez does not look sharp.
No, he sure doesn't. He walked a tightrope in the first, threw 27 pitches in the first inning, and here he's made a couple of mistakes with a breaking ball. Not a lot of bite on that breaking ball, and Sams crushes it. Hits it all the way to the wall in center field. So 2 big blasts for the Netherlands here to start the second.
And not a surprise that Victor Mesa has sent his pitching coach out. And so Cuba, with his pitching coach out there, usually Victor Mesa delivers the news. It's Juan de Dios Peña, the pitching coach for Cuba. And the Netherlands, who left the bases loaded in the first, has a run and a runner in scoring position now.
Peña with a much calmer approach out to talk to the pitcher, trying to get Jimenez back on the right track.
You think? Well, we've seen a variety of Cuban pitchers. Look at the whole bullpen is back behind the screen.
Vladimir Garcia and Roberto Rodriguez. Rodriguez on the right. Roberto Gonzalez, excuse me, he's the left-hander.
Now the number 9 hitter, the catcher for the Netherlands, Dashenko Ricardo. And Jimenez spins.
Yeah, and he got Ricardo to do exactly what he wanted. He slid his hand up the bat as if he were going to bunt. And don't be surprised if you ask your number 9 hitter to bunt in this situation.
In 2009, the catcher for the Netherlands right now is one of the hardest throwing pitchers in the big leagues. He was known as Kenley Jansen back then. Once he got to the big leagues, everyone called him Jansen, and he said, all right, in the big leagues, I'm Jansen. When I go back home, I'm Jansen.
Yeah, and he has a great arm, obviously, and had some health issues. He was considering participating in the WBC, but as we know, he had a heart condition addressed last year during the regular season, and he just wasn't 100% ready to pitch.
Let's see if the Netherlands can get the runner over. Ricardo squares and takes outside. Hensley Mullins, who spends a lot of time next to Bruce Bochy in that San Francisco Giants dugout. He's the hitting coach, but he has followed Bochy around. Bochy has been terrific with him. He says it's been a great influence. He also played for Buck Showalter with the Yankees. Ricardo squares, drops it down, and Jimenez has to get the out at first. So the Netherlands plays big ball with a home run and little ball after the double. And that sets up a big at bat for Andrelton Simmons with a runner at third and 1 out.
Perfect execution by Ricardo. Drops it down up the first base side of the mound, and Jimenez has to field it. He moves that runner over, and that's going to cause the Cuban infield to come in and play close, trying to save the run. Trying to cut off a run at the plate. Good speed at third.
Simmons has had a nice tournament. 3 doubles, 4 for 14, and he fouls it back to the screen. He is a early at bat guy. Something usually happens in the first 3 pitches.
Yeah, he's very aggressive, and you saw that on the first pitch of this at bat. That's a huge run for the Netherlands. They've got a good pitching staff, and they've got a deep bullpen. So if you can get an opportunity to add on, you better take advantage of it. And this is a great opportunity with 1 out.
Jimenez from the windup. And he throws one by Simmons. Breaking ball there. And the count's quickly 0-2. Now Jimenez struck out Schoop in the first. But remember, he walked Bernardina and walked Jones. He's given up 3 hits, including a Kurt Smith home run for a 1-0 Netherlands lead. Sams at third, infield's in, 0-2 pitch. Smacked into center field, that's a base hit, and the Netherlands has a 2-0 lead. Goodness.
We talked about the significance of game 1 for both managers. They called upon their aces to set the tone, and Jimenez has made some mistakes early in this ballgame. He leaves a fastball up to Simmons with 2 strikes, and we mentioned that Jimenez doesn't have that little extra zip on his fastball to run it upstairs and get past these good hitters.
Now you've got Schoop. Hensley Mullins told us that the guys he would like to hit and run with are at the top of the order, and Schoop is the number 2 hitter. He swings and drives one to left field. That one is deep. Despain goes back at the wall, looks up, and it's off the wall. Late start at first by Simmons, on his way to third, and he's out. He is out, called out, and an argument ensues at third base. Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, came all the way up to make the call. Simmons did not read the ball well. He got a late start at first, and as a result, Despain got him at third. That's a huge out for Cuba.
Well, bad base running, too. As you can see, this ball is a long, high fly ball, and there's some question. Is it going to stay in the park? Is it going to go out of the park? It hits off the wall. And Simmons is called out at third base. He is tagged out before he gets to the bag. He's going to get up and argue. But see how Simmons gets hung up between first and second and actually goes back toward first, and that is fatal. There is no reason whatsoever to go back to first base with one out. You've got to be standing on the bag. In that situation, you can even go around the bag, and he would have scored early. Scored easily had he run the bases correctly.
The Netherlands has a 2-0 lead. Victor Mesa is making a pitching change. And we're only in the second inning here in Tokyo. That is Freddie Alvarez, and he has taken over for the starter, Ishmael Jimenez.
Freddie Alvarez pitched in the second game in Fukuoka. Pitched an inning and a third, gave up a hit, walked a batter, didn't have a strikeout.
Jonathan Schoop at second, Roger Bernardina at the plate. The Netherlands just had Andrelton Simmons thrown out at third. They could have had second and third and one out. What they have now is a runner at second and 2 outs. 2 runs here in the second has chased Ishmael Jimenez.
And that's a shocker for Cuba. They were confident Jimenez would be able to pitch them deep into this ball game.
So now it's into the bullpen, and all hands on deck for Cuba. Jose Reyes 4 for 4 in this ball game, and the Dominican has a 9-3 lead.
Reyes was 9 for 14 with the Blue Jays in spring training before he joined the Dominican team. He was on fire, and he has kept that hot bat.
Hanley Ramirez with a home run. Bernardina chopper. He can really run. Got to be quick, and not in time. Bernardina beats it. Fernandez a bobble, and the inning is still alive. Up comes Ballantine.
Yeah, Fernandez knew he had to hurry. Bernardina runs well. This chopper off the front edge of home plate. Second baseman, watch how he tries to make the transfer quickly. Bobbles it, grabbed it by the time he gets it to Abreu. He is charged with an error. Boy, everything is breaking right for the Netherlands, and Victor Mesa is a little perplexed right now.
Calm down, Mesa says. It's tough to do in such an important ball game. This in Cuba, Victor Mesa told us you play game 1 of this round like an elimination game. Here is Ballantine now. The big slugger, check swing, and Marquez said he went around. The count is 0-1. Ballantine, a 2-time home run champ the last 2 seasons here in Japan with the Yakult Swallows.
Alvarez with that good fastball. You have a little extra zip on the fastball than Jimenez.
Ball down low. Now the ball is flying in this ballpark much better than it did in Fukuoka. Fukuoka, a little bit bigger ballpark and a much higher fence, a 19-foot wall from foul pole to foul pole. This wall 14 feet foul pole to foul pole.
The playing surface and the fence reminds me a lot of Tampa Bay, the way the ball flies out Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg.
1-1. Breaking ball misses down low. Here are the dimensions, and I think the numbers to note here, Buck, are the gaps, the alleys. They're very short, 361 apiece.
Yeah, and that's the power alleys, and it doesn't take much power to get it out of here. Plus the fact it's a lower fence than we saw in Fukuoka. Fukuoka was 19 feet. This is a 14-foot fence. And already the Netherlands has made the most of this small ballpark.
Breaking ball and a swing and a miss. by Ballantine, the cleanup hitter for the Netherlands. Ballantine is 28, from Curacao, as are a lot of these Netherlands players. Count 2-2. Ballantine blistered a single back in the first. Bernardina, who can run, is at first, and Schoop is at third base. And Alvarez just making sure that Bernardina stays tight. Bernardina was running back in that first inning on the Ballantine hit.
Bernardina is one of 3 players in the lineup for Hensley Mullins that's given the green light. He can pick when he wants to run.
2-2. Fastball, fly ball, right field, Bell back, and he'll have room at the track. The Netherlands gets 2. Kurt Smith with a leadoff home run sets the tone, and it's 2-0. 2-0 ball game. Netherlands has scored first. We're proud to have the MetLife blimp Snoopy 1 providing coverage from over Tokyo. The MetLife blimp has provided a unique perspective for fans for over 25 years and is thrilled to be a part of the 2013 World Baseball Classic. The Big Egg, the Tokyo Dome Hotel right next to it, headquarters for the World Baseball Classic. This is the day game, the matinee, a noon start Tokyo time, and a drive to right. That ball's crushed. Ballantine back, and it's gone. He's done it again. Alfredo Despain, a leadoff home run, and Cuba is on the board. Second home run for Despain in the tournament.
Well, and that's the thing about Cuba. They have the power to come back from any deficit, and Despain, he doesn't hit the ball the opposite field very often, but he got a ball up out over the plate and drove it out of here in a heartbeat. Watch how he stays on this ball. He's more of a pull hitter than a guy that uses the whole ballpark, and he is starting to really swing it.
Now, Diego Marquel, the starter for the Netherlands, he was not sharp in the first. Gurriel now into right field. Ballantine playing deep. Almost lost that ball either in the lights or in the ceiling, but he makes the catch, and there's one out.
Alfredo Despain led off the second. This was at the end of the half inning. Victor Mesa called his team over, and you can see him in the middle of that meeting. He's very animated, saying, listen, we're down 2. Would you guys just have good at-bats? Don't panic in this situation, and let's turn things around. And sure enough, Despain gets them right back into the ball game with one swing of the bat.
He's the manager. He's the hitting coach. He's the de facto pitching coach. It looks like Cuba with a decided effort to go opposite field here. All 2 balls in play, and that ball to the right side. Despain's line drive homer to right. Gurriel's liner. And Marquel goes up with a fastball and gets a strike. It's 1-2.
Sanchez has started every game for Cuba, and he's a free swinger. Got kind of a long swing, and he can be vulnerable to that high fastball. That's why they go right back to it.
If the ball flies like this all week,
yeah,
you got to like Cuba's chances.
Yeah, you sure do. They have so many guys in their lineup that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. If you shut one down, there's another one right behind him.
Another ball into right field, and that one dumps in for a base hit. Ballantine picks it up, and Cuba with a run across. A single by Sanchez, and now the young shortstop coming up.
Well, it's obvious what the problem is for Marquel. He is up. He's left everything in this inning up, out over the plate, and the Cubans are doing a good job of recognizing that and going with the pitch. It's very difficult to hit a low pitch to the opposite field. Naturally, you're going to hook that ball, and you're going to keep it on the ground. Bert Blyleven, previous half inning, was talking to his catcher, Deshenko Ricardo, trying to get Marquel back into a good spot. But right now, they've got to be concerned about Marquel elevating his pitches.
Arrua Barruena, the Cuban shortstop, and Markwell misses outside. Markwell pitched very well against Cuba in an exhibition game coming into the World Baseball Classic. There's Arrua Barruena. El Grillo, the cricket. Much easier name to use. His teammates use it. And he pops it up out into shallow center. Bernardina comes in, and it's the shortstop, Simmons, who makes a sliding catch and a throw to first. He got him. Wow! A double play. Andrelton Simmons, who made a base running mistake last half inning. A terrific sliding catch and a laser beam throw. It's 2-1 Netherlands. In Tokyo, what a wild play this is. Roger Bernardina never saw it in center. Andrelton Simmons the slide, and watch the throw. Kurt Smith had to go up to get it, and we'll show you a look here.
Tremendous arm from Simmons, and even more impressive, the awareness to go back behind the runner and double him up to end the inning.
Well, that was a bang-bang play because Smith was up, obviously, to get back down and get Ariel Sanchez, the catcher.
Simmons has one of the best arms from shortstop in the entire major leagues, and right there he utilized it to end the inning.
Andrew Jones is up the 1-1 pitch, and he takes that down low. Freddie Alvarez in relief of Ishmael Jimenez. Jimenez didn't make it through the second inning. The Netherlands got both their runs there, a Kurt Smith home run and an RBI single by Andrelton Simmons. Both teams have made base running mistakes. Simmons, who was thrown out at third on the double by Schoop, and you just saw Sanchez being doubled up on the terrific play by Simmons. That man with a line drive homer to right, Alfredo de Spain, for Cuba's only run. Here's the 2-2.
I think the mistakes we've seen early in this game, and I'm going to factor in Ishmael Jimenez as well, has a lot to do with the intensity and what's at stake. Simmons, obviously, the shortstop from the Atlanta Braves, he's played in the big leagues. He understands it, but I think the intensity of what's at stake in this short tournament has kind of all of the players on edge a bit early.
We have terrific access to both managers and teams. Alfredo, or rather Victor Mesa, lecturing us about this tournament and how he has to get his team to understand that it's playoff baseball, that it's every game, every inning, every pitch. Hensley Mullins told us yesterday that his team isn't just happy to be here. His team is thinking, let's get to San Francisco. Little pop out to first, and Abreu makes the catch, and Jones is out. The Netherlands was just happy to get to the second round in '09, not so much this year.
Well, let's go back and take another look at that play that ended the previous half inning. Simmons from center field throws to Smith at first, and Sanchez, the catcher, is called out at first. Simmons did a great job not only physically making the play, but the awareness he had when he saw the center fielder, Roger Bernardina, not pick up the ball off the bat and sprint out to center to make the catch of that pop-up.
Xander Bogaerts, the third baseman for the Netherlands. As Buck pointed out, you got a trio of shortstops on that infield. Bogaerts has taken to third base. And a little tapper to third. Gurriel throws him out. So a pair of outs. Alvarez has restored order. He got the final out of the second inning. And here's Kurt Smith. Now, Kurt Smith, a great college career at Maine. He was the Conference Player of the Year. Has had a very good international run. A big game player in international play. He was the MVP of the World Cup. And a home run to get the Netherlands started. As I noted, he's a guy that's looking for a job. Was in AA last year. Right now is slated to play independent ball, but he's had a very good tournament. He had a nice start in Taichung. And he's helped himself here because there's a flotilla of scouts here in Tokyo.
Yeah, I think the numbers have even increased from the number we saw in Fukuoka in round 1.
A 1 pitch.
And you're right about Kurt Smith, a guy that can swing the bat, and he's got some power. Everybody's looking for power. That's one of the hardest things to find. Power hitting position players. And take a look at this swing. And he put a charge in that home run he hit. That time he gets beat by the fastball. That ball beat him. It was well back over the plate by the time he fouled it off.
Counts 0-2. Alvarez to the plate. Fastball got him. And a 1-2-3 inning for Freddie Alvarez. And the Cuban bats are right back to work in the third. 2-1. Netherlands. Netherlands has a 2-1 lead, bottom of the third here in Tokyo. Make sure you visit worldbaseballclassic.com. Bookmark it, your one-stop shop for news, video highlights, online shopping, jerseys, caps, collectible items, and more. 24 hours a day, you can gear up, support your team and your country. worldbaseballclassic.com, accessible on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. This is a lunchtime crowd here in Tokyo, and a ground ball off the bat of Guillermo Heredia, the leadoff hitter for Cuba, gobbled up by Andrelton Simmons. This is the only day game here, night games throughout. The Dominican Republic has a 9-3 lead in the bottom of the 8th. They knocked Anibal Sanchez out of that game early, the starter for Venezuela. And the Dominican has gone to their bullpen early and often. They have used 8 pitchers in that ball game already.
Yeah, and the really interesting line is that of the starter Edinson Volquez. He goes 1 inning, had 1 strikeout through 11 pitches, and it makes you wonder if he didn't hurt himself in that start. But they have gone to their bullpen and they are loaded. They have 13 hits in that game. Veteran Octavio Dotel pitched. Kelvin Herrera of Kansas City also pitched in relief. And they have used the big bats. We mentioned Reyes with 4 hits. Robinson Cano has 3 hits. Nelson Cruz with a pair of hits. And Alejandro Diaz of the White Sox has 2.
Well, that's a scorcher. Alexei Bell rolls it into left field. Bogarts made a dive for it, but it was by him by the time he got the glove down. And Bell has a base hit. Now, Diego Marquel, the starter for the Netherlands, has not looked sharp in this ball game.
No, he sure hasn't. His breaking ball is rolling up to home plate, and it's not got the bite that he had earlier in this tournament. Plus, he's been up. I don't think he's made a good quality pitch down around the knees in this game yet. He's just a little bit up fighting his delivery.
And that's no place to live against this Cuban team.
No, you won't be in the ball game very long if you continue to pitch upstairs.
It was a great look at the Teflon roof here at the Tokyo Dome, similar to the old Metrodome in Minneapolis. Bert Blyleven was telling us that this very much reminded him, without the baggie in right field, that tarp of a right field wall they used to have in Minneapolis before the Twins moved into Target Field. Good move to first, and back in is Bell.
This is the only day game in this bracket. The remainder of these games will be at night, and it's always a challenge when you have a roof like this. Sun beats down outside. It becomes very difficult for outfielders and infielders to pick the ball up off the bat. That happened to Bernardino last inning.
Marquel to Fernandez, and the second baseman pulls it foul. Gorgeous day outside. This is the best weather day we've seen while we've been in Japan. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Teflon roof, and all the outfielders very much aware of it. We saw Bernardino lose that pop-up. He was saved by Simmons on the sliding catch and throw for a double play. Fernandez has swung the bat well in this tournament. He is 6 for 9. Chops it over the middle. Schoop, Simmons. Boy, they're good up the middle. Second double play for Marquel, and the Netherlands hangs on to a 2-1 lead. Netherlands a 2-1 lead in the 4th. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority, the World Baseball Classic Incorporated, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the World Baseball Classic. Entertaining ball game so far as we reach the 4th inning. Netherlands with Kilian Sams, their left fielder. And he takes a fastball for a strike. And this is Freddie Alvarez, if you've just joined us. Both starters got off to wobbly starts, and Ishmael Jimenez was knocked out in the second, the starter for Cuba. Of course, the manager of the Cubans, Victor Mesa, is not a patient man. He showed that in Fukuoka, even though Cuba went 3-0. A 6-0 lead against Japan on the final night. Mesa burned through his bullpen and was enraged most of the time. 0-2 pitch fouled at the plate.
In a tournament like this, you don't have time to be patient. If the pitcher doesn't have it, you got to make a quick decision. And Victor Mesa, we have seen how quick he is, and he will get guys out of the lineup very quickly if things aren't working. He has been on his catcher all afternoon. Ariel Sanchez has caught all of the games for Cuba, and he wants to make sure that they attack this lineup.
Arrua Barrena, a collision out there, and the throw is not in time. Gurriel and Arrua Barrena with a high chopper, and Sams is aboard, and a mistake by Cuba.
Yeah, it sure is a big mistake. It's a chopper, should be a routine out. Third baseman comes over and cuts in front of the shortstop, and they collide. And that knocked Gurriel off his feet. Arrua Barrena, the shortstop, comes in, trips him up.
Now, third baseman oftentimes, if they can get it, will cut in front. But on that ball, Buck, Arrua Barrena had his momentum and his feet set to go to first.
Yeah, that's one where he's got to call off the third baseman and let him know, I've got it. I'm balanced. I'm right here. I can make an easy play of it. And another big mistake by Cuba.
It's going to be E6. So Arrua Barrena, who didn't touch the ball, gets an error for running into Gurriel. And now Dashenko Ricardo is up. 2-1 ball game. A pair of home runs in this game. Kurt Smith for the Netherlands and Alfredo Despain for Cuba.
2 errors already for Cuba, and they can ill afford to make mistakes against a much better ball club than they faced in the first round. Netherlands is legit.
And now, you know, right now the home plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, is screaming at the Netherlands dugout. Out of the, there you go, there's the Netherlands dugout. On the other side, we've been watching Victor Mesa, who reenacts every pitch and has something to say to both his catcher and pitcher. Counts 1-1. Runner goes, pitch out, and they've got him with a good throw, but not there. Sanchez hesitated a bit, and Sams with the good speed beats the throw and steals the base.
Well, they had it right. They called for the pitch out, but the catcher Sanchez really took his time. You can't change your rhythm as a catcher, even on a pitch out. Come out of the chute, you know you're going to have a clear path to make the throw, but he was very nonchalant, and the base runner, Sams, beat it out easily.
So there's nobody out. It's 2-1 to Ricardo, and he's going to try to bunt. He pushes the bunt right side, and that's going to do it. It'll move Sams to third. Sacrifice bunt. Up comes Simmons with 1 out.
Another look at the stolen base. There's the pitch out, but you can see the catcher wasn't in any rush, and he made the throw wide of second base. So right in the face of the pitch out, the Netherlands gets a big stolen base.
You know, you could, if you wanted, and it probably would be fun to watch, dedicate just one camera and put it up in the corner of the screen to Victor Mesa.
Might be a little bit of a distraction. He's so animated.
Well, here's Simmons. Unieski Betancourt, one of the fine shortstops to come out of Cuba, when asked when he got to the big leagues if major league managers would intimidate him, he said, I played for Victor Mesa. Nothing will intimidate me.
Well, Simmons had a big RBI in his last at-bat with 2 strikes. He got a fastball and drilled it right up the middle.
Simmons, a ground ball to third. Gurriel looks the runner back and throws across the diamond, and that's a big out for Freddie Alvarez. A pair of finals. The stunner, Italy coming from behind. Sergio Romo blowing the save. And Italy beats Mexico, and the Dominican all over Venezuela, chasing Anibal Sanchez early, and a 9-3 win. Rich Waltz along with Buck Martinez in the Tokyo Dome. In what has been an entertaining ball game between two very good teams, the Netherlands and Cuba. Right now, Netherlands up top of the fourth. Second Cuban pitcher working, Freddie Alvarez, a quick hook for Ishmael Jimenez when he gave up 2 in the second. Those of you joining us now on MLB Network, welcome to Tokyo. Welcome to the second round. Over here in Tokyo, this is double elimination, and the stakes obviously much higher than the first round sites of Taichung and Fukuoka, Japan. Alvarez pumps in a fastball.
This is the first time in the history of the World Baseball Classic that the second round has taken place in Japan. And they have moved on. Second round action, and this is where the intensity increases dramatically. The caliber of play is much better as well.
1-1 pitch, and that's a strike to young Jonathan Schoop, the 21-year-old Baltimore Oriole prospect.
Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, must feel like he's umping a Red Sox-Yankee game, the way both teams have gotten on him already in this game.
We'd also like to welcome all of you on the world feed who have joined us here in Tokyo. 2-1 Netherlands, runner at third, 2 outs. Schoop fouls that one back. Well, the emotion's high because of the importance of this game. Again, this is double elimination play with 4 teams here. Cuba, the Netherlands, and later on tonight, the host team, Japan, against Chinese Taipei. That, in case you haven't watched a Cuban game, is Victor Mesa. There's Hensley Mullins. Much calmer demeanor in the Netherlands dugout. Pitch in the dirt. And it's 2-2.
Well, the loser of this game will play tomorrow against the loser of tonight's game. So the stakes are high.
And that's the difference of what's happening in Phoenix and in Puerto Rico. Here, 3 days in, you'll have someone who will advance to San Francisco. And tomorrow, you will have someone who is going home. Schoop in the air. And Fernandez calls for it and makes the catch. And an opportunity wasted for the Netherlands here in Tokyo. Still, the Netherlands on top of Cuba, 2-1. Live from Tokyo, 2-1 Netherlands on top of Cuba, scoreless until the second. And that is Kurt Smith, who went down and got an Ishmael Jimenez slider for a home run. Netherlands would get 2 runs in that second inning. Team meeting, Victor Mesa, and it worked because Alfredo Despain, an opposite field shot to get Cuba on the board. And here we are in the bottom of the 4th inning, Cuba up, and Diego Marquel, who has had a really battle here. He's had 2 double play balls to get him out of innings. And here in the 4th, Freddie Cepeda, who walked back in the 1st.
Excuse me, Rich. The thing that you need to watch for with Marquel is whether or not he can get the ball down. Early in this ball game, through the first 3 innings, he hasn't been able to make quality pitches down in the zone. That's a much better pitch. Even his breaking ball had been up earlier in this ball game. And if you flirt with this lineup, the Cuban lineup and their power upstairs, you're going to get hurt.
Marquel, who has been pitching in the Dutch League since 2005 after spending 7 years in the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Much better breaking ball missed downstairs there.
The pitch limit is 80. This is pitch number 41. So he's in good shape right now, pitching here in the 4th inning.
You mentioned, excuse me, Rich, you mentioned Markwell pitched in the Blue Jays system. In 2000, he was pitching in the New York Penn League, pitching at Queens, and there were 5 players on that team that made it to the big leagues.
That one's in the left field. Another base hit for Cuba. 6 hits for Cuba already. Cepeda, the cleanup hitter, singles to left. And now the power comes up.
Yeah, this is a tough lineup to work through. That ball was on the inner half of the plate. And Cepeda is a switch hitter that came into this tournament much more confident as a right-handed hitter than a left-handed hitter. But since the tournament has gone on, his stroke as a lefty has improved as well.
These Cuban players who play in the professional league in Cuba have some incredible numbers, and this guy is one of them. Abreu, known as the Cuban Barry Bonds. And at 26, a chopper to short. Simmons, Schoop with a quick turn, and they got him! Smith kept his foot on the bag, a rocket throw. You can see the shortstop arm on Schoop. And Markwell gets his 3rd double play already.
Yeah, we had mentioned that the Netherlands has 3 shortstops on the infield, and up the middle they've got a terrific double play tandem. Simmons at short and Schoop at second. Abreu runs fairly well for a big man, but look at the arm and the feed from Simmons right on the money to Schoop, who quickly turns, and they get some help from Kurt Smith. Maintains contact with the bag, and that's the 3rd DP. And I tell you what, the defense, we had talked about it, the infield defense is terrific for the Netherlands.
A big swing and a miss by Alfredo Despain, who homered, his 2nd homer of the tournament back in the 2nd inning, and it was to right field, and it was a laser. Despain is just 26, and he was the MVP in round 1 in Fukuoka. And he hits a high, high fly ball. Remember the roof. Psalms makes the catch. We've seen outfielders confused and dazed with the roof here on a daytime start in Tokyo, but Psalms hauls it in. 3 double plays and a 2-1 lead. 2-1 Netherlands. Some great live shots of the World Baseball Classic and the Tokyo Dome, made possible by MetLife's Snoopy One, a blimp with a legacy in sports that is as rich as the images it captures. Put a leader in your lineup with MetLife. Tokyo Dome City is the area around the Tokyo Dome. Huge hotel, big amusement park, big shopping mall. And right now, the Netherlands with a 2-1 lead. 3-4-5 in the Netherlands order. Tomorrow, Buck will be out on the roller coaster.
Looking forward to that. It's gorgeous outside today. And
yeah, this is a day-night doubleheader. This is a noon start, and later on tonight at 7 o'clock Tokyo time, Samurai Japan, as they're called, Team Japan, takes on Chinese Taipei. Bernardina has walked, reached on an error, and he smokes that one to left field. Despain is back, and he makes a running catch and then introduces himself to the left field wall. Well hit by Bernardina, out number 1, and Alvarez continues to get outs.
yeah, he sure does. He's done a nice job. He has really settled things down for Cuba. Bernardina hit it hard. Despain was playing deep. It's a small yard, and the outfield is going to play deep, hopeful of cutting off anything in the gaps.
Now, if you've just joined us, there will be an enormous crowd. This place more than likely filled tonight and really loud tonight for this game with the Netherlands and Cuba. Many of the locals have come out to see the Cuban team, to see this Netherlands team, and they have been cheering for this man, Vladimir Valentin, who has been a terror in the Japanese league the last 2 years. He's led the league in home runs, and he is just thrown out by a step on a busy afternoon for Yulieski Gurriel, the 3rd baseman for Cuba.
Gurriel's an experienced player. This is his 3rd World Baseball Classic. He played second base in the previous Classic in 2006, moved over to 3rd base, and shows an awful lot of patience as he waits on that high chopper and makes an easy play of it.
In Fukuoka, the games in which Japan did not play, the crowds were very sparse. So it's good to see that in a ballpark that holds over 42,000, that the lunchtime crowd has come out to watch Andrew Jones and Team Netherlands Jones squares to bunt. When Andrew Jones decided to play in the World Baseball Classic, he picked up the phone and he called a variety of Major League players who had connections to Curacao, Aruba, and the Netherlands and told them, I'm in, I'm playing. And the majority of those players grew up idolizing Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
So hard to say no to your idol.
Well, he came up to the big leagues as a 19-year-old, had that terrific start to his career in the World Series in 1996. And he is truly a legend.
Behind of the count, 0-2. Alvarez drops down and misses outside.
Andrew has signed a 1-year contract with the Rakuten team here in the Japan Professional League, the Nippon Professional Baseball League. He will play this summer.
He's just shy of 2,000 hits in the big leagues. 1,933, 434 Major League home runs. And of course, many of the youngsters in Aruba and Curacao that were watching him play in 2005 sure enjoyed that summer. He hit 51 home runs in 2005 for the Braves. And he has a lot of hardware.
10-time Gold Glover. Third most by an outfielder and 5-time All-Star. He had a terrific big league career.
1-2 pitch coming. You know, the Cubans really have tried to sell calls like that. That ball was not close. And Ariel Sanchez, umpires do not like this.
Watch the catcher. Up, that's strike 3. Well, maybe not. Alfonso Marquez done a good job of maintaining his composure and not getting involved in all the animated Cuban players we have seen, and he's just doing a real good job of controlling this ball game.
2-2, hammered and by Gurriel. Down the line it goes. Despain picks it up, and Andrew Jones is around first. A hot smash. The Netherlands with a base runner, 2 outs here in the 5th.
Jones hits that ball, and you can see that was about belt high. They were trying to get it down and away, and Jones with that long swing rips it by Gurriel into left field. So Andrew has his first hit of the afternoon.
Jones is aboard. Normally, when Victor Mesa is out on the mound talking to his pitcher, there are 2 guys throwing and 5 guys stretching in the bullpen.
Well, and one thing, we've talked about how animated Victor Mesa is. He's a good manager. He knows his team very well, and he knows what's
Look at him right now.
They're watching the television feed of this game, and everybody is focused on that screen. That bullpen is behind the Cuban dugout. We went in there and saw the setup here in this stadium, and the bullpen serves as a batting cage.
Hensley Meulens, the manager of the Netherlands, has come out to talk to the home plate umpire, Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, and I believe that, well, now they're going to change baseballs. That's interesting. Meulens came out, talked to the home plate umpire, Marquez, and now he has gone to the mound. And Marquez, of course, speaks Spanish, so he's able to communicate with Alvarez. But Meulens saw something he didn't like, and he asked Alfonso to check the baseball, and indeed he changed baseballs.
So Jones with a hit, Marquez back behind the plate, and here's Bogart. And Bogart takes down low. It's 1-0. This is a talented youngster, one of the most talented in the minor leagues. Bogart's just 20, playing third base for the first time. He's a shortstop in the Red Sox organization. And he's Boston's #1 prospect.
To give you an idea of the worldwide appeal of the World Baseball Classic, last night I met a gentleman from Nova Scotia that said he's coming to these games to watch Bogarts because he's a Red Sox fan. He's been reading about him as he makes his way through the minor leagues, and he said, I bought my tickets just to get a good look at my next shortstop in Boston.
Bogarts is out of Aruba. And a 2-0 fastball for a strike.
You can see the Netherlands fans gathered behind home plate, and Chinese Taipei, they will play tonight in the nightcap of this doubleheader. They'll take on the home team, Japan, in the night game that begins at 7 p.m. local time.
Pulled foul. Now the pitch count in the second round goes up to 80. And a pitcher must wait 4 days as well if he throws 50 pitches. And that comes into play here with Freddie Alvarez. Alvarez, in relief of Ishmael Jimenez, has thrown 51 pitches.
So now Alvarez will need 4 days off. So he will be finished in this tournament, and the only chance for him to continue to pitch if Cuba makes it to San Francisco. But right now, Mesa's not concerned about pitch count. He likes the way that Alvarez has stymied the lineup for the Netherlands.
Andrew Jones is at first. Xander Bogaerts, who was 0 for 2 at the plate, and he fouls it at the plate. Bogaerts 1 for 10. Again, the Netherlands in advancing. They went 2-1. Very different feel than Cuba. Cuba knew midway through their week in Fukuoka they were coming to Tokyo. They walked right through everyone, beating Brazil, China, and then Japan. But it wasn't until that last out in Taichung that the Netherlands knew they were coming. And of course, that was the come from behind win by Korea over Chinese Taipei, but because everyone had a 2-1 record, it came down to run differential, and Korea didn't have the runs. So the Netherlands advanced and Chinese Taipei advanced. And since Chinese Taipei beat the Netherlands, they are the #1 seed coming in. And they play Japan, the #2 seed, out of Pool A. That fastball fouled off.
Chinese Taipei beat the Netherlands 8-3. But more significant than the score was the fact that Netherlands only got 1 hit in that game.
Netherlands has 6 hits in this ball game. See Robert Einhorn standing next to Hensley Meulens. Meulens did a terrific job, obviously, with the world champion Giants. He has 2 rings from the Giants on Bruce Bochy's staff. Counts 2-2, and what a sweet return to San Francisco it would be for Hensley Meulens to take this Netherlands team to AT&T Park. And the Netherlands even has the San Francisco Giant colors.
Yeah, and Meulens certainly would like that opportunity, and there is the possibility, though there's a lot of games left, that the Netherlands would play the Giants in spring training. They're going to have time off in between the end of this pool and the beginning of the next round in San Francisco, so they'll have some time to work out and play a couple exhibition games.
Good at bat by Bogaerts as he battles here against Alvarez. And he rolls a bouncer out to El Grillo. Arrua Barruena, the shortstop for Cuba, takes care of business. Freddie Alvarez has been just what Victor Mesa has needed. 2-1. All the scoring in the second inning. Netherlands a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the 5th. Anthony Rizzo fueled that comeback for Italy in the upset over Mexico. The Dominican hammered Venezuela 9-3. And tonight the question mark, Chin-Ming Wong against a struggling Japan team, the host team against Chinese Taipei. We've got that game later on here in Tokyo.
Chin-Ming Wong really threw the ball well in his debut in Taichung. 6 innings, 4 hits, and by all reports he really is healthy again, throwing the ball very well.
I don't think you can say the same about Diego Marquel, the starter for the Netherlands, as Yulieski Gurriel, the third baseman for Cuba, stands in. Ariel Sanchez is on deck.
But you know what they say, the sign of a good pitcher is winning a game when you don't have your best stuff. And as he has been encouraged by his pitching coach, Bert Blyleven, he's put it in play and turned it over to the middle infield. 3 double plays turned behind Marquel have really helped him out.
And in that fabulous run in 2009 in Puerto Rico, when twice the Netherlands took down the Dominican. Markwell had a key role in that final game in relief. He went an inning and a third of scoreless relief against the Dominican. The game went into extra innings. The Dominican scored a run, and the Netherlands scored 2 to win it. That one's hammered into center field. Cuba has yet another base hit. 3 double plays in this ball game for the Netherlands.
This one, a pop-up that the center fielder, Roger Bernardino, didn't see. The shortstop, Anderson Simmons, makes a terrific play. That ended the second inning. And then Jose Abreu, with a man at first in the fourth inning, hits into a double play. Good, strong arm around the bag by Jonathan Schoop, the second baseman. So the double plays have really helped out Markwell, and Cuba looks like they're going to bunt here.
Now this was a problem in Fukuoka, and that's Ariel Sanchez bunting. Drops it down. It's picked up by the catcher. Ricardo's throw is on time. The relay is not at first. Dashenko Ricardo pounced on that bunt. Schoop tags the runner in case he missed the bag at first, but they get the out at second.
Sanchez failed to bunt in the first round and eventually struck out as he bunted it with 2 strikes foul. Here he doesn't get the ball far enough away from home plate. Ricardo's got a tremendous arm and gets the lead runner at second. They take a shot at another double play because the catcher was running. But Ricardo, a cannon from behind the plate, gets that lead runner.
Soft liner, and it's going to find a home in right field. Remember, you got the catcher as the runner, and so Sanchez stops at second base. Arrua Barruena with a base hit to right.
Just a little flare off the end of the bat, big swing, and Arrua Barruena flares it into right, the catcher.
Now, Buck, traditional double plays on the infield. The Netherlands has turned 3. But that sliding catch by Simmons and the throw to first means 4 double plays for the Netherlands. So they've had a double play an inning. The Simmons one, of course, was the spectacular one. And Cuba's going to pinch run for their catcher. So Sanchez comes out, and Raul Gonzalez comes in.
Yep, the catcher is lifted in favor of Gonzalez, who's got good speed.
And again, it illustrates what Victor Mesa told us, that you have to treat every game in this tournament as an elimination game. Pinch running for his catcher in a 1-run game in the bottom of the 5th. So speed at second and speed at first with El Grillo. And Mesa, the Dusty Baker of Cuban managers, with the wristbands, the batting gloves. Markwell, 54 pitches into this one. And Heredia squares to bunt, and he takes, Heredia's got a single, and he has bounced to short.
Yeah, that was an interesting move by Heredia. He took a peek down at Bogarts at third and thought maybe there was an opportunity for a bunt base hit, but it surprises me with the tying run at second base.
1-1. Tap to short. Simmons gets an out. Schoop's relay is not in time. But it shows you how quick the middle infielders are. Simmons, a terrific shortstop, and Schoop, who's a shortstop as well, has been very good at the pivot.
Boy, I tell you what, this double play combination up the middle is as good as any major league double play combination you want to see. Quick hands and strong arms, both of them. Simmons made a terrific feed to the second baseman, Schoop, right in his chest, and then Schoop's got that strong arm.
In the Netherlands bullpen, David Bergman, a right-hander, is ready. And here for Markwell is a big test at the corners. 2 outs in a game in which he's been able to get 4 double plays behind him. Cubans at the corners. And Bell, who singled his last time up, awaits.
Obviously, Markwell is concerned about Heredia, who runs well at first, but if I were Markwell, I'd focus on Bell, a very dangerous hitter. Don't worry so much about a stolen base as trying to get the 3rd out of the inning.
Change up, ground ball, foul. Hensley Mullins has called upon Markwell in international play, and he's delivered. He beat Korea in the first round. He went 4 shutout innings, gave up just 2 hits. He wasn't overpowering. He only struck out 2, but as Bert Blyleven will tell you, he only walked 1, and that's the bottom line for Blyleven. Pound that strike zone. Bell, hard hit at third. Bogarts gets the out at second base, and Markwell survives the 5th. And the Netherlands hangs on to a 2-1 lead. A good look at the Big Egg, the Tokyo Dome, home of the Yomiuri Giants, the champions of the Japanese League last year. There are 7 Yomiuri Giants on Team Japan's roster, which should make for a very lively evening tonight here in Tokyo. And tonight, Chinese Taipei and Japan, and in Phoenix, Canada will take on Italy Friday, 2 Eastern. In Puerto Rico, Spain and Puerto Rico getting ready to go. Boy, the Dominican just hammered Venezuela in the first game in Puerto Rico. Mexico against USA. Mexico took a loss in the comeback from Italy. Now, when you're playing for Victor Mesa, especially in a game like this, you got to be ready. Look at all the guys down in the bullpen trying to get loose.
Well, they can't see the field. You can see the monitors way in the back of the bullpen. That's how they watch the game. And in between innings, they move around, never knowing when their number might be called by Victor Mesa. So he's got everybody loose, and he's got their attention in the bullpen. You can bet on that.
He's got a new catcher in the ball game, Frank Morajon, and a big swing and a miss by Kurt Smith. Morajon, the best defensive catcher that Cuba has.
Yeah, he has been the #1 backup catcher, and in tight ball games, he'll come into the game defensively. He's got a terrific arm and a very good catcher behind the plate.
Mesa was an incredible baseball player, one of the top 100 athletes in Cuban history. He's 53 years old. A prolific base stealer despite being very big. Smith, a high fly ball to right center. Bell and Heredia. It's Heredia who sees it and makes the catch. Smith homered back in the 2nd. Both Netherlands runs came in the 2nd, and the only run for Cuba came in the 2nd as well. And that was a home run by Alfredo de Spain.
Freddie Alvarez came into the game in the 2nd inning with 2 outs, and he's allowed just 1 hit. That was a single to Andrew Jones with 2 outs in the 5th, and he has really calmed things down for Cuba.
Kalian Sams now, who has doubled, reached on an error, scored a run, and has a stolen base. Sams, who was born and raised in the Netherlands, is 26. Was in Double-A last year. Had 11 homers, 13 stolen bases. When he signed with Seattle and came to camp with the Mariners, for Sams, it was the first time he had ever set foot in the United States back in 2007. He's 26 now. One.
Well, one thing that really benefits the players from the Netherlands is the language. They come into the United States playing minor league baseball. They speak English, Spanish, Dutch, and their native tongue, Papamiento. So there are no communication problems, and as opposed to some of the players from Latin America who don't speak much English, or Japanese players coming to the major leagues, there's always that communications barrier. Not the case for players from the Dutch Antilles.
So much so that this year in Major League Baseball, one of the new wrinkles, new rules, is that managers or pitching coaches can take an interpreter to the mound with them. And I assume that's for any language.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And obviously teams know who they need to communicate with and what kind of interpreter they'll need. I could have used one or two when I was managing the Blue Jays. Just to get guys to understand what I was trying to tell them.
But no need to bring anyone out who speaks Papiamento, because that's the Dutch player's fourth or fifth language. That one's hammered into right center field. Sams has got himself another extra base hit around first. Heredia picks it up. And a one-out double by Kalian Sams.
Boy, Kalian Sams can really run. He shoots this ball up the alley. It's just the second hit allowed by Alvarez, and when that ball went off the bat, Sams was thinking 2, possibly 3. It goes all the way to the gap, and he can fly. Well, he breezed around first base.
I don't think that ball had hit the wall by the time Victor Mesa had arrived to the mound. He was out as soon as it left the bat. And Mesa with a quick visit for a guy that's thrown well. Freddie Alvarez has been outstanding.
Yeah, he sure has thrown well. Just 2 hits. You can see their bullpen starting to move around a little bit. Yadier Pedroso starting to loosen up, and we have seen him. He throws the ball very well. It's only a 1-run game.
The Netherlands has left 7 on base, and they are just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position right now. They've had opportunities to break this thing open. And Ricardo has been asked to sacrifice, and he's done it both times. This time he swings away. Fly ball to right. Bell is there. Runner tags. He may have left early, and the throw is cut. And Sams is in at third. If they appeal this play at second, he may be out.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Rich. I thought he did leave early. It doesn't look like the Cubans are aware of that. I mean, they're a very heads-up ball club, but to me, he left early. Let's see if they come set to appeal it at second, but he moved over very easily, and I don't think he needed to leave as quickly as he did. He had enough speed to advance, but doesn't appear as though Cuba's going to appeal.
No, Cuba's not going to appeal. And here's Andrelton Simmons, the Atlanta Braves young shortstop. Simmons delivered an RBI hit in the second. Infield back, 2 outs. And a fastball up and in. Simmons is a guy that likes to swing early in the count.
And you can bet these teams have scouted one another. Netherlands played Cuba in the exhibition series leading up to the tournament. And they have scouts who have watched all the games, and they will watch the games on television and compile a scouting report through the TV. So they have an idea. And they've also played one another. World Cup, the Netherlands beat Cuba in the final game in 2011 to win the gold medal.
That pitch misses high. Now let's take a look. Ball to right, and that's a lifetime cut on the replay. So if you do the math, it looks like he did leave early.
Yeah, and as we watched the play, both you and I were focused on the base runner, and I felt he left early. Obviously, Cuba didn't because they didn't appeal.
And not an easy guy to walk is Andrelton Simmons, but he's on his way to first.
You see Pena, the pitching coach, scurrying down to the bullpen to make sure that pitcher is ready. Looks like Mesa is anxious to make a pitching change here. He might bring a fresh arm in with 2 outs.
Jonathan Schoop is the hitter. Schoop is one of the fine young infielders that the Netherlands have. He's 21. And he's one of the bright young prospects in the Baltimore Orioles organization.
Well, both pitchers appear to be ready. Pedroso is the right-hander. He was throwing. The left-hander is Norberto Gonzalez, and here comes Mesa. And he's taking the ball. Hand shakes. Give me that ball. I'm going to bring a fresh arm in. 2 outs. Runners at the corners.
Mesa, the unofficial leader in mound trips here in the World Baseball Classic in 2013. 2-1 Netherlands. Victor Mesa with his patented wristbands and batting gloves, and that came into play on his last visit to bring out Freddie Alvarez.
Yeah, he went to the mound to pull Alvarez out of the game. He congratulates him with a handshake, takes the baseball, then watch what he does. He's got batting gloves on. He takes the baseball away, and then he proceeds to rub it up. Well, that got the attention of the home plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, who said, Mr. Mesa, listen, you cannot rub up that baseball with batting gloves on. There are strict rules in the rule book of baseball about applying a foreign substance to a baseball. And Mesa said, hey, man, I got my gloves on. It's no big deal. But nobody misses a trick about gamesmanship in this international tournament.
I'm sure that caught the attention on the Netherlands bench before it caught Alfonso Marquez's attention. Yadier Pedroso comes in at the corners. Young Jonathan Schoop at the plate. And the pitch is up and in. And it's 1-0. If you've just joined us, the Netherlands jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Kurt Smith homering in the second inning. Alfredo Despain homered for Cuba. Both teams have had a slew of base runners since, but neither has been able to chase them home. And the Netherlands have them at the corners, but there are 2 outs. That one's driven. Left field deep. Back goes Despain. Gone! 3-run shot. Jonathan Schoop. 5-1 Netherlands. A 1-0 pitch that was absolutely crushed.
Schoop hit a home run in the first round, and he got a breaking ball that appeared to stay up in the zone, and there was a no-doubt home run, a line shot, and watch the bench react. Andrew Jones leading the cheer as they come onto the field to celebrate the 3-run home run.
Bernardina takes inside. Cuba is stunned. The Netherlands on top. It's 5-1 in the 6th. And in a double elimination, this is the second round. Opening day is enormous. Bernardina right field. The yard will hold it. Bell at the track makes the catch. The Netherlands, a 2-out rally. They finally get that big hit. Jonathan Schoop, 3-run shot. In Tokyo, a noon start, Tokyo Dome. The Big Egg, right in downtown Tokyo. And the start of the second round, and it has started with a bang for the Netherlands. The Netherlands, a 5-1 lead over the powerful Cubans in the bottom of the 6th. Diego Marquel, his defense superb behind him. They have turned 4 double plays. Actually turned 3 and had another double play on the sliding catch by Andrelton Simmons in shallow center. He wheeled and threw out a runner at first. 1-1 pitch.
Marquel hasn't been great. He's battled his command all afternoon, but as we mentioned earlier in the game, he has been able to hang in there, make quality pitches in tough situations. 5 innings, 8 hits. He's walked just 1 batter. Doesn't have a strikeout, but his defense has really helped him out.
Jose Fernandez, the second baseman for Cuba, has doubled. He's bounced into a double play. We told you at the outset of the telecast, one of the strengths of this Netherlands team is their infield and its speed. You've got 3 shortstops, 3 very good ones. Simmons at short, Jonathan Schoop at second, and Xander Bogaerts at third. And a breaking ball misses away from Markwell. They all can cover ground. They all have big arms. And Schoop certainly has had a big bat in this one. There's Kurt Smith at first. He's made some nice plays at first. And of course, he homered early in the game.
Well, you can see the baseball instincts of the Dutch team. I mean, they're aware. You go back to Anderson Simmons, the shortstop, going out to center field with one out. Center fielder Roger Bernardina lost a pop-up in the roof, never saw the ball. Simmons went out, made the catch in center field, and turned it into a double play.
Fernandez takes, and the count's 3-2. It's a very different makeup from 2009 when they were the Cinderella and stunned the Dominicans and went on to Miami. They were beaten in Miami in 2 games. 3-2, ripped into right, and Cuba has their 9th hit of the ball game. Jose Fernandez, and now the question for Bert Blyleven and Hensley Mullins. You're getting into the teeth of the order, the power portion of the Cuban order with Cepeda, Abreu, Despain, and Gurriel. Bergman has been up, and he's up for the 2nd time, so he's ready at a moment's notice.
Yeah, this is a tough call for the manager. You got a lot out of your starter. He's been able to avoid the impact of 9 hits, but there is lightning in this lineup for Cuba.
Cepeda, a check swing, no swing, says Jerry Davis at first base. Freddie Cepeda has walked in the 1st, singled in the 4th.
Now, the one thing that makes Cuba so tough if you're trying to work your way through the lineup is they have balance. You shut down one guy, the next guy is liable to hit a 3-run home run right behind him.
Counts 1-0. Markwell at 67 pitches. Pitch count limit is 80. And he just misses there.
Yeah, this is about the end of the line for Markwell. I don't imagine we'll see him go much deeper into this inning. On deck, you've got the power for Jose Abreu, and they've got a right-hander, Bergman, ready in their bullpen.
There's a strike. Hensley Mullins, Robert Einhorn to his left. You saw Blyleven pacing behind. Driven to center and hit well. Bernardina back at the track. He makes the catch. Deepest part of the park. It's 400 to straightaway center here at the Tokyo Dome.
You see Hensley Mullins looking at the lineup card, making sure he knows where he's at in the Cuban lineup. And the toughest thing for managers and coaches that have been players is to stand in that dugout and maintain your composure. Each one of these guys has competed on a big stage before, and to stand out there, you'd want to go out there and say, okay, now you can handle Abreu. I know you can. Just bear down, make a quality pitch. But it's a tense moment in this ball game.
Abreu is 0 for 2. He's bounced to the pitcher, and he's rolled into a double play. And Markwell gets a strike. Markwell has been one of the Dutch's best international pitchers. A lot of experience, a lot of big games. And as the Netherlands comes into the 2nd round, they're not just happy to be here like 2009. It's all about winning and advancing to San Francisco. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball to short. Simmons. Schoop. 5 double plays for the Dutch. Incredible. And the Netherlands here in Tokyo through 6 has a 5-1 lead over Cuba. (5-1) Netherlands is no longer the Cinderella. We told you they're not just happy to be here. Watch the reaction of the bench on this double play.
Hensley Mullins, but look at Blyleven in the back. Bert Blyleven, the pitching coach. Matter of fact, they said, I knew he'd get out of it. And the defense has been outstanding today for the Netherlands. 5 double plays, 4 infield double plays. Excuse me, 5 infield double plays and a double play by the shortstop on a pop-up.
Vladimir Valentin, and he swings and misses a breaking ball. Yadier Pedroso came in the 6th inning, and the second pitch he threw, Jonathan Schoop hit it in the seats for a 3-run homer. The Netherlands has gone deep twice. Kurt Smith, a solo shot. Valentin, the cleanup hitter, and a home run champ here in Japan. And I'm sure he has his own chant and his own song when he is playing for his team, the Yakult Swallows. If you've not watched a game from Japan before, we suggest you either stay up and watch tonight or set the DVR for Japan against Chinese Taipei, because the crowd, there's a Valentin fan. The crowd, the songs, the music, the cheering is incredible to watch.
Yeah, and it's orchestrated. They have cheerleaders, they have bands, and the fans will stand up throughout the entire inning while Team Japan is batting. And
Here,
it's electric.
Here a noon start between Netherlands and Cuba. And that game, a 7 o'clock Tokyo time start. Smoking shot at Gurriel, who can't handle it, and Valentin is aboard for the 2nd time.
Valentin
Gurriel got eaten up on that one.
Yeah, he's had to handle some hot shots down there at 3rd. Valentin now 2 for 4 in the afternoon. And Gurriel swipes at this, reaches out to his left, gets a glove on it, but it flips too far away from him, and Valentin will reach to start the inning.
It's a base hit. So Valentin is 2 for 4. And now you've got Andrew Jones, Alexander Bogaerts to follow. Jones in this one has walked, lined out, and singled. The Dutch have been very selective at the plate. This is their 4th game of the World Baseball Classic. And Jones has already walked 5 times. $18 walks already as a team. And Jones drives that one into center field. There's that patented back leg Andrew Jones swing where that knee collapses, and he's almost hitting on his right knee.
And what do you think that base hit brings? Victor Mesa. And you can see Mesa has the pitcher give the baseball to the umpire. He's not going to touch it again. He was reprimanded by the home plate umpire, and there'll be another pitching change.
Right now, the Netherlands in control, 5-1. Victor Mesa has made a lot of pitching changes here in the World Baseball Classic. His last pitching change, he was reprimanded for rubbing up the ball with his batting gloves on. He made a show of not touching the ball with his gloves when he got to the mound, but you saw there he put it in his glove and put it in his catcher's mitt, and Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, again went out and asked for the ball and changed baseballs. And it was almost as if Mesa was daring Marquez to do it again.
New pitcher is Yonder Guevara. We saw Yonder Guevara pitch in the pool final, Japan against Cuba. He was the 2nd pitcher in that ball game and threw very well.
Bogart squares the bunt, drops it down, 3rd base side, and it's going to roll foul. Leadoff singles, Vladimir Valentin, Andrew Jones, and they are at 2nd and 1st. Bogarts without a hit in this one, and just 1 for 11 in the Classic.
Yeah, you've got to make sure you get this bunt down. I mean, this is a great time to add on to your 4-run lead. Bogaerts is a guy that's going to have to handle the bat and be asked to bunt in the big leagues. So right now he's got to execute. Bunt the ball down the third base line and make Gurriel field the ball.
You don't have the best of speed out there with Valentin and Jones. Pitches in.
You
And
see
the runner at
Valentin.
second, we didn't see it in that shot, but Valentin with a crash landing as he didn't want to get picked off. He saw Morejon pop up behind the plate, and Valentin stumbled. Here's a look.
Morejon's got a strong arm, and Valentin just lost his footing and kind of laughs at himself as he face plants right on top of the bag at second.
Valentin knows this ballpark. He plays here in Japan. He's been the home run champ the last 2 years here in Japan. Counts 1-1. Let's see if Bogaerts is bunting again. He squares and he bunts beautifully, and that's going to be trouble. He's going to beat it.
Miscommunication from the pitcher and the third baseman. It'll be a base hit bunt for Bogaerts, but it's a perfect bunt between the mound and the third baseline. The pitcher fields it, and he comes off the mound thinking about going to third, but Gurriel vacates his position momentarily. Indecision by Gurriel cost them the force out at third, and Bogaerts beats the throw to first for an infield hit.
And now the bags are loaded. Hensley Meulens, the manager of the Netherlands, hitting coach for the world champion Giants, has got Curt Smith up. The Cuban infield is creeping in a 5-1 ball game in the 7th inning. The Netherlands right now on top of powerhouse Cuba. And Guevara works from the stretch. A home run in the second for Smith. He has struck out and flied to deep center in his other 2 at-bats.
That's a big point of the ball game for both ball clubs. Looking ahead to the bottom of the inning, it's 6, 7, 8, and 9. Bottom part of the lineup for Cuba, and they can ill afford to fall too much further behind.
Line drive, Smith was on it, and Gurriel makes the catch. 1 out for Cuba.
You can't guide it. Smith hit it on the line, but right at the third baseman. It's a big out for Cuba. Now that'll allow the middle infield to back up a little bit. They're going to play a double play depth now. You can see the shortstop, Araya Baruena, backing up. Sams has had a good day at the plate already.
So the bags are loaded. A double in the second, a double in the 6th. And he pops that one foul back and out of play.
Guevara not overpowering. Sams should be able to put something in play here and get the ball to the outfield. That's what he's thinking at the plate. You got to make sure you get the ball up, something you can drive to the outfield. Cash in at least one of these base runners. Anxious moment for Cuba.
Every moment is an anxious moment for Victor Mesa. And Guevara gets another strike, and he's out in front 0-2. Mesa is animated a manager as I have ever seen anywhere. Hensley Meulens, on the other hand, calm, collected, very composed, and he has his Netherlands team on top 5-1.
Well, he takes on the personality of his manager in San Francisco, Bruce Bochy, and they stand side by side throughout the season. Bochy's very calm and quiet and understated, and Hensley Meulens is much along those lines.
Oh-2 pitch. Guevara has that odd entry to the stretch position where he looks like he's about to go from the windup from there, and then he steps in and straddles the rubber. See the hitter ready for what looks like a windup. Bases loaded, 0-2 pitch. And he had to protect on a fastball that was down around the knees. Psalms gets a piece of it. Psalms the 8 hitter. The Shenko Ricardo is on deck. He's the 9 hitter. The Netherlands, the tone was set by that Curt Smith home run in the 2nd inning, because Cuba is the team that's supposed to hit all the home runs. And Smith homered. The Netherlands got 2. Alfredo Despain homered for Cuba to make it 2-1, but the Dutch have added on and have a 5-1 lead. Another 0-2.
Pretty good fastball upstairs, but Psalms is able to lay off of it. Tell you what, this Dutch team has the benefit of a manager that's a big league hitting coach and a DH that's a former big league star. And you can see the impact they've both had on this lineup. They're very patient and very selective. Not a lot of wild swings in this lineup.
Mix in a Hall of Fame pitching coach in Bert Blyleven. That's a great staff. 1-2. Breaking ball popped up, foul territory and playable, and Abreu squeezes it. And so Yadier Guevara got the line drive out from Curt Smith. Good pitch to Psalms, and now it's Ricardo who comes up.
The growth of the Netherlands team has really been fortified by the consistency of the coaching staff and managers. Hensley Meulens was the former hitting coach during the WBC. Bert Blyleven, this is his 2nd stint as the pitching coach, and he wanted to participate in 2006. But his daughter was getting married at that time, and he had to bow out.
So Ricardo, who has a pair of sacrifice bunts, up there looking for more, and he fouls it at the plate. Counts 0-1.
Ricardo had 4 hits in the previous pool. He was 4 for 10, and that's Robert Einhorn. He's the bench coach, and he is the general manager, if you will, of Team Netherlands.
And he's the reason that this program has had such continuity with Meulens, with Blyleven, and with the entire staff. I mean, his theory to us yesterday was get good people and then listen to those good people and stay out of their way. And Einhorn has obviously done a terrific job. They won the World Cup in 2011. The 0-1. Good breaking ball. 0-2.
Sidearm breaking ball, big sweeper that's on the outer portion of the plate, and Ricardo waves at it. Well, he finds himself in a hole. You got to shorten up and battle now if you're Ricardo. For Cuba, they need a big strikeout.
Shenko Ricardo, the catcher for the Netherlands. The number 9 hitter. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 0-2. Got him, fastball. And Guevara pitches out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation and keeps it at 5-1. 5-1, Netherlands on top. 7th inning stretch here in Tokyo. And the Netherlands impressive in this one, using the long ball. Curt Smith got him started. A 2-0 lead for the Netherlands in the 2nd. Cuba answered back. Alfredo Despain, a line drive to right. That made it 2-1. And in the 6th, Jonathan Schoop, a 3-run shot. And that stretched the lead to 5-1. And here we are, bottom 7. Leon Boyd has taken over on the mound, and a ground ball to short. Andrelton Simmons crossed the diamond in time. Despain is out number 1 here in the 7th inning. Netherlands defense, Buck, has been outstanding in this one.
Well, they have turned 5 double plays. This was a pop ball into center. Andleton Simmons makes a strong throw to first to double up the catcher. And then in the 4th, Jose Abreu grounds into a 6-4-3 double play. And then again in the 6th, it's Abreu. 6-4-3 again. The infield has turned 3 double plays.
That ball is crunched left center field off the bat of Gurriel and gone. Yulieski Gurriel, a solo shot to left center. And Cuba has their 2nd run and their 2nd home run.
Well, we know this Cuban lineup is loaded with big bats, and Gurriel has not had a very good start to his tournament, but maybe that swing will get him going. It's a pretty good pitch. Looked like a sinking fastball down around the knees on the inside corner, and he drives it into the seats.
So Gurriel is homered. And it's 5-2. Frank Morejon has his first at bat. He came in after Cuba pinch ran for Ariel Sanchez, the starting catcher, back in the 5th. Diego Marquel went 6 innings, the beneficiary of the 5 double plays, but he gave up just the 1 run. He's in line to win this ball game if the Netherlands bullpen can finish the deal. And as we saw earlier today in the World Baseball Classic, it's not always easy to finish the deal with that great comeback from Italy. Morejon with a base hit to center. And so the Cubans with something going here in the 7th, a run across, 1 out, Morejon at first. And I think, and yes, it looks like Cuba's going to pinch hit for Barbaro Arrua Barruena, who's had a very good tournament. Barruena is 5 for 13 in the Classic. But Victor Mesa is pinch hitting for him here. Luis Rivera will hit.
Yeah, and he just wants the matchup. Boyd is a side armor with a good sinking fastball and a sweeping slider, so they're going to send up the left-handed hitting Rivera. 35 years old. He's a veteran of national play. Double-barreled action for the Netherlands. Isenia, the right-hander. Polovic, the left-hander. Bert Blyleven has his bullpen going.
And so here's Rivera pinch hitting with Morejon, the catcher, at first. One thing in the back of the mind of the Netherlands right now is wasted opportunities. They have a 5-2 lead in this one. They've left 10 on base already. They've had opportunities for really big innings.
Both clubs now have 11 hits. The difference in the score is the infield defense for the Netherlands. They have turned 4 ground ball double plays and a pop double play. That has enabled them to have a 3-run lead late.
This is an enormous game to open round 2. The winner of this ball game in their next game in 2 days will play a game to advance to San Francisco. Back to the screen. And so you win this game and you're a win away from advancing. You lose this game and you're a loss away from going home. To center, Bernardina, an exceptional outfielder, makes the catch. The bracket here in Tokyo, Japan and Chinese Taipei will play later on tonight. And then the loser of the two games play tomorrow. The winner survives, the loser goes home. The two winners of the games today will play on the 10th, and the winner of that game is in San Francisco and would move all the way on to Game 6, which is a game that will decide seeding for the finals in San Francisco.
Well, Victor Mesa continues to try to make something happen here. He's going to use another pinch hitter this inning. It's Yosmani Tomas, who started in the final game against Japan down in Fukuoka, and he had a long home run in his first at bat in the third inning against Kenji Otonari. So he's going to come up trying to keep this inning alive.
He has replaced two of his best defensive players, his shortstop, Arrua Barrueda, and Heredia, the center fielder, and it pays off with Tomas shooting one into the hole on the right side, a base hit. Tomas had a very good series down in Fukuoka, and Victor Mesa upset that the base runner isn't at third base. The lead runner stopped at second.
Tomas slaps this one through the right side, and the right fielder, Vladimir Valentin, kind of laid back. But the base runner, Frank Morrejon, is a catcher and didn't have that great speed, and I think you got to be conservative, but Victor Mesa was a little upset he didn't go first to third.
Now Alexi Bell. Boyd has been knocked around here in the 7th, his first inning in relief. He gave up the Gurriel homer. Morrejon singled on a solid shot to center. Rivera a line drive out to center, and now Tomas with a single. Bell fouls it back.
Well, this is the difference in the Cuban team than most teams as you look at the bullpen. Mark Pollowick starting to throw. Mark Pollock starting to throw, and they have a left-hander ready. But Cuba can strike quickly, and Alexi Bell, in Cuba they call him the toy cannon because he is powerful, wrapped in a small package.
Bell swings and misses. 5'9", 187 is that package.
That's a big sweeping breaking ball. He was way out in front of it. Boy, that's dangerous. He left that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate, and Bell just missed it.
Tying runs at the plate, bottom of the 7th, 5-2 Netherlands. The ball really has been jumping here in the Tokyo Dome. A pair of home runs for Cuba, a couple of home runs for the Netherlands. And there have been balls bouncing off the wall as well. Another hanging breaking ball, smoked to third. Bogarts is there, gets the out. Cuba gets a run, but that's it. And the Netherlands heads to the 8th on top, 5-2. In Tokyo, 5-2 Netherlands. We'd like to thank MetLife's blimp Snoopy 1 and the all-star team of pilots, mechanical engineers, and ground crew. They make these spectacular shots of the 2013 World Baseball Classic possible today. On a gorgeous day in Tokyo, day-night doubleheader to open round 2. And a bit of a surprise here. Netherlands, a 5-2 lead over the powerful Cubans. Cuba walked right through round 1, winning all 3 games. Andy Ibanez comes in at shortstop. Yasmani Tomas will stay in center field. Guevara to the plate, hammered, left field, deep, off the wall. Turning is Simmons, and he'll stop with a single. Good throw by Despain. Andrelton Simmons hit it so hard that he was held to a single.
Simmons has really swung the bat well. This one's got a chance to get out of the ballpark. Hits high off the top of the fence, and you can see Simmons slipped a little bit around first base, and he'll have to stop at first with a long single.
He was watching it up the line.
Yeah.
He was not prepared to make the turn. and it was played perfectly by Despain. But you got great speed out there now. You have Simmons at first, and here is Schoop, one of the heroes today for the Netherlands, a double and a 3-run homer. And Schoop takes inside. Jonathan Schoop is just 21. Schoop has not played in the big leagues, but he's headed in that direction. He was Baltimore's minor league player of the year in 2011. Last year in Double-A, 14 homers, 24 doubles. He hit .245. And of course, he's a terrific defender as a shortstop, playing second for the Netherlands.
Well, he's one of the guys that Mullins will ask to hit and run. Got a good base runner at first in Simmons. Schoop can make contact, and don't be surprised if they try to create a hole on the infield by starting their runner at first.
Mullins timing Guevara from stretch to plate. Fouls it off his foot. It's a foul ball. Now Schoop came up in the 6th inning with a couple runners on. Cuba had just made a pitching change, and the second pitch that Yadier Pedroso threw, Schoop hit out. His second home run of the tournament.
Freddie Alvarez had done a pretty good job for Cuba. He'd gone 4 innings, just allowed 2 hits, but Pedroso came in, and as Rich mentioned, second pitch, the ball left the yard. And that really sparked the emotions from the Dutch team in their dugout. They've hit 2 home runs here this afternoon.
Simmons at first. 1-2 coming. That is a fair ball. And down into the corner it goes. Simmons is racing for third. Despain up with the ball. Here comes Simmons. He's going to score. It's 6-2. Have a day, Jonathan Schoop.
Boy, he was all over that pitch. With 2 strikes, he was short and quick to the ball. And Victor Mesa, you're right. He doesn't waste any time popping out of that dugout when he's got a pitching change on his mind. But runs are very precious at this point of the ball game. Cuba finds himself now down by 4.
Jonathan Schoop has driven in 4 with 2 doubles and a home run. And he has knocked out Yadier Guevara. 6-2 Netherlands. Cuba goes to their bullpen again. Hensley Mullins, the manager of the Netherlands, is trotting out towards second base. You just saw him go right by Norberto Gonzalez. And he went out to check on Jonathan Schoop at second base. And Schoop seems to be okay. Mullins is on his way back to the dugout.
Yeah, they went out to check on Schoop, make sure he's okay. He was flexing his legs as if he might have strained something. He appears to be okay, and he's told the training staff he is all right, and he stands at second. 6-2, the Netherlands.
With a run here in the 8th inning, the Netherlands has Schoop at second, Roger Bernardina, then you've got Ballantine and Andrew Jones to follow. A bunt, it's going to move the runner, and Bernardina is out. And so that puts Ballantine, the cleanup hitter, in an RBI spot. Victor Mesa was already out of the dugout. Now, Victor Mesa, when he made this last pitching change, when he brought Gonzalez in, again grabbed the baseball with his batting gloves. The home plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, and now he doesn't want to touch it. Alfonso Marquez gave the pitcher a new ball, and Mesa glared at Marquez, walked by him, took the other ball and threw it at home plate, and he's lucky he wasn't ejected from the game.
Well, the problem has been that Gonzalez, or
and he's doing
Alfonso
it again.
Marquez
has told him.
Yeah, and he's got a new ball. He's walking to the mound now. This is going to be interesting to see the exchange once Marquez hands the new baseball to the pitcher.
How much rope will Marquez give Mesa? (6-2), Netherlands. Well, Victor Mesa was told in his first pitching change not to touch the ball with his batting gloves, and he has defied the home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez on each trip to the mound. The trip before this one, he actually took the ball, walked by Marquez, and then dumped the ball at home plate. This time, no incident, gave the ball to the pitcher, but Marquez waited patiently, and you got to give Marquez a lot of credit. He has kept his composure in this. It very easily could have gotten out of hand. So, back on the diamond, Vladimir Valentin, infield in, runner at third. That's Jonathan Schoop, and the first pitch is fouled back to the screen. Raciel Iglesias is the 6th Cuban to work, the 5th out of the bullpen, and the right-hander is trying to get out the 2-time home run champ in Japan, Vladimir Valentin.
Iglesias pitched twice in round 1. His last outing came against Team Japan, and he did not fare well. Walked both batters he faced. He was charged with 2 runs in that ball. He had a good outing against Brazil. His first time out, went 3 innings, allowed just 1 hit. He struck out 5 in Cuba's first game in round 1.
Valentin with a couple of hits. The Netherlands has 13 hits. Cuba has 12. Here's the 0-1. Popped him up. Let's see if it's playable. Morejon, the catcher, makes the catch. And a big out for Iglesias to get Valentin out. But he still has another veteran. And this one is a guy who has played in a lot of postseason games. These games are postseason games for the teams that enter the second round. Andrew Jones.
Well, Andrew Jones got a taste of the postseason. His first year in the big leagues was, he was 19 years old when the Braves played in the World Series in 1996.
He hit 400 in that World Series.
And a home run in each of his first 2 at-bats. Pretty good way to start your career.
He has 2 hits and a line drive out. He's 2 for 3 and has walked. And a breaking ball misses up. There's the 21-year-old Jonathan Schoop, Orioles prospect, who has had an incredible day. He's driven in 4 with 2 doubles and a 3-run homer. Jones signed to play in Japan this year. Another breaking ball.
Jonathan Schoop is a guy the Orioles really have high expectations for. In fact, there's some in the organization that believe he might be on the scene by mid-season. Certainly a lot depends on Brian Roberts and his health, whether or not he can play second base. He's been bothered by injuries the last several seasons, but Schoop is somebody they've got their eye on.
1-1 pitch to Andrew Jones is up. Now Jones, a role player the last couple of years with the Yankees, has also played in the big leagues with Texas, the Dodgers, the White Sox, and a great run in Atlanta of a dozen years. (2-1).
That's
Iglesias,
a tough breaking ball right there. He starts it right at Jones's hip and catches the inside corner.
Iglesias doesn't throw much straight.
We mentioned his great first outing in the World Baseball Classic. He had 5 strikeouts in 3 innings of work against Brazil.
(2-2) coming. Schoop still at third. And another breaking ball. That's all he's thrown to Andrew Jones.
And Andrew's aware of that, and if Iglesias leaves one out over the plate, Jones might be able to cash in, but he's not going to throw too much that Jones can get to. And Andrew has been patient enough to work the pitchers for the walk. He's already walked once here this afternoon. He's got a couple of hits and lined out.
Got the 20-year-old Alexander Bogaerts on deck. Oh, fastball froze him. So he did throw the fastball and he gets the strikeout, but the Netherlands gets an insurance run. And Cuba is running out of outs. 6-2 Netherlands. The opener of the second round here in Tokyo, and the Netherlands has a 6-2 lead over Cuba. Cuba down to the last 6 outs here. Upcoming schedule: Japan and Chinese Taipei. Also a second round game. Pool play with Canada against Italy in Phoenix. You got pool play in Puerto Rico, pool play in Arizona, but here in Japan, the intensity has been turned up. Jose Fernandez, Frederick Cepeda, Jose Abreu for Cuba, and a pop-up to the shortstop. Andrelton Simmons makes the catch. Cuba, the favorite coming into this double elimination 4-team event, which will send 2 teams to San Francisco.
Yeah, they were the favorite because of their offense, but they also had their ace on the mound to start this round. Ishmael Jimenez went an inning and 2/3. He was charged with 2 runs on 5 hits, and he certainly wasn't as effective as we saw in his first outing.
Now Cepeda, who takes inside. Cepeda has walked, singled, and flied out. Cuba has hit balls all over the yard. A dozen hits, but just 2 runs. And the reason why they just have 2 runs, the Netherlands infield has turned 4 double plays, and they have a 5th double play when Andrelton Simmons made a sliding catch in center and doubled off the catcher Ariel Sanchez at first. So 5 double plays by the Dutch defense.
And they're really good infielders. They can really catch it. They've got strong arms, good hands, and it wasn't the fact that Cuba was slow by any means. They turned some very impressive double plays.
Big rip by Cepeda. You got 3 shortstops out there. You saw Simmons, Schoop, and then Bogarts. Smith over at first base. He made a nice catch on one of those double plays to keep his foot on the bag. Leon Boyd trying to get outs here in the 8th. Nice job by Ricardo behind the plate. He's made some nice defensive plays. Has called a good game. Handled his pitchers well. Schoop waits for Smith to get to the bag and throws him out. 2 outs here in the 8th inning.
All right, this time of the ball game, I don't care where you're playing. All you're trying to do is check off outs. Don't give them any free passes. You see the bullpen.
Senya and Van Meel. Hensley Mullins, Robert Einhorn, and of course Bert Blyleven is in there as well. And this is where what Bert Blyleven preaches to the Netherlands pitchers. This is where it pays off. Pound the strike zone, make the hitters beat you. In the 3 games down in Taichung, Blyleven's pitchers walked just three batters a game, 9 total.
Yeah, especially against a power-laden team like Cuba. You don't want to give them any extra base runners. They have handled Jose Abreu very well today. They've kept him on the ground. He grounded back to the pitcher in the first and then hit into 2 6-4-3 double plays. So the meat of the order has been silenced very effectively by the Netherlands here this afternoon.
And I guess another reason why you get 12 hits and only 2 runs, the Netherlands has walked just 1 in this ball game. Abreu ready, the 1-1 pitch, and a hanging slider is fouled back.
You know, that's pretty interesting. Blyleven would preach that. Many times throughout his career, he would lead the league in home runs because he was going to throw it over, but he knew what the score was. He wasn't going to walk himself into any jams and give up those crooked numbers. And he didn't care if you hit a home run as long as it was a solo shot.
And he had a devastating curveball, 5th all time in the major leagues in strikeouts. Pop up towards the dugout. Smith is over. And he reaches and he off his glove. Did he hold it? He's in the well. He's got the ball. He made the catch. He made the catch. The Cubans are saying he did not. Smith over the barrier into the photographers. Now the umpires have said catch.
I don't think he caught the ball. I think the way he hangs over the fence, watch how he stays over the fence. The ball is off of his glove, and he bends over and picks it up and shows it to the umpire, and they call the batter out.
Wow, big break for the Netherlands. Well, Kurt Smith has a big home run and a highlight film non-catch because the Dutch first baseman did not catch this ball, though it is ruled a catch. Here's a look from the overhead camera, and clearly it's off his glove, but then he goes down immediately and alertly picks the ball up, sells it to the umpires, and here's another look. Now look where Jerry Davis, the first base umpire, is. And so Davis is blocked out from first. That's Alfonso Marquez's call at that point, and he's the home plate umpire. He has to go a long way because that is the camera well beyond the first base dugout. There's Marquez.
And you could see Kurt Smith was going back to first base to take his position defensively. He didn't anticipate it was going to be called the third out of the inning.
Xander Bogaerts is up. Now the other thing that happened, Victor Mesa came out and asked the umpires, Alfonso Marquez and Jerry Davis, if they could replay or make a determination via replay. But the World Baseball Classic is using Major League Baseball replay rules, and Marquez told them it is only for home runs. And that's the replay that you have in the World Baseball Classic.
And Mesa held his team off the field until he got finished with this discussion. You can see Marquez saying only home runs. Mesa appears to have asked him, can you replay that pop-up? And Alfonso Marquez, and to his credit, he has maintained his composure throughout this game. And the Cubans, both the pitchers and the catchers, have been somewhat animated on questionable balls and strikes, but Marquez has done a terrific job of maintaining his composure and keeping control of this ball game.
And here is Kurt Smith, whose home run got it started in the second. Iglesias, hard thrower, and it's foul back and out of play. Speaking of replay, when the second round gets to Miami, Major League Baseball officials at Marlins Park will be studying a new form of replay, of expanding replay. And they will do it in the booth with cameras and views in the ballpark. They'll also experiment with expanded replay with a control center in New York. They're not sure exactly how far they want to take it, but in Miami there'll be a lot of experimenting. That's a fair ball, and Kurt Smith is aboard with a double. Another extra base hit for the Netherlands.
This is a big surprise for the Netherlands to be swinging the bats as well as they are. 6 runs on 14 hits now. They've hit 2 home runs, and they have really taken advantage of Cuban pitching here this afternoon, and that's got to do wonders for their confidence as they go deeper and deeper into this tournament.
4 doubles, and that doesn't include the double that Schoop had that they ruled a single, the one that he hit off the wall in left when Simmons was thrown out at third. Kalian Sams, he's got 2 doubles, and he calls timeout. So in Miami during the second round, Major League Baseball officials will be experimenting with expanded replay, and the hope is that by 2014 they will have worked out a new system that will expand replay, you would think, to catches or traps. A play like that is perfect for replay. Whether they go even further for tag plays.
Yeah, and there's a lot of discussion, and obviously it's a very important movement forward. Fair or foul down the lines is another thing they're going to look at.
Here's the 1-0.
I don't think you want to get involved in bang bang plays at first or second, maybe steal attempts, but I certainly think you can introduce fair or foul down either line. Trap plays in the outfield, which are very difficult for umpires to make the calls on. And the technology has improved so much, you can turn it around instantly and make quick decisions on replays.
That's a strike on the outside corner. Many feel that the best form would be a fifth umpire actually on site in a booth with all of the replays in front of him, watching the game, and when a play like that happens, if he sees that a call's been missed, buzzes down, much like college football works right now. Some have suggested you give managers challenges. Now, Buck, you managed not only in the World Baseball Classic, but you managed in the big leagues. What form of that would you be in favor of?
I'm not in favor of giving the managers a challenge. I think that would really create slow play. I think you decide on a particular format. I like fair and foul down either line, and I like pop-ups like we just saw. I mean, obviously we saw clearly the ball went off his glove, and I think you have to help the umpires out on some of those calls. But I don't want to go much further than, I certainly don't want to see a manager with a red flag in his back pocket to throw it out at his discretion.
I'm with you on that. Here's a 3-1 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen. And in terms of speeding up play, if that was a reviewable play and you had a fifth umpire in the booth who saw that right away, that happens instantly. There's no argument. There's no discussion. There was about a 3-minute delay while Victor Mesa was out there, and the umpires let him plead his case to no avail.
Yeah, but as we mentioned, the technology has improved so much that you could turn it around instantly. He could have a monitor with all the various angles, and he could look at them within seconds and make a quick determination.
3-2 coming. And that's in. Sams walks. The Netherlands is not done. They have a 4-run lead in the ninth, trying to add to it. Victor Mesa trying to calm down the hard-throwing right-hander, Raciel Iglesias. Castillo and Rodriguez are ready in the bullpen. The catcher, the 9-hitter, Dashenko Ricardo. Smith at second, Sams at first.
Ricardo's had a good game. A couple of sacrifice bunts in his first 2 at-bats early in the ball game. Done a nice job of handling the pitching staff, getting big outs in tough situations all throughout the course of this game. I think the biggest thing is that they've been able to keep the Cuban team to just a single run in the second and a single run in the 7th. They've been able to stay away from the big inning.
Breaking ball and a tapper towards third. The shortstop has it and makes the play. That was an issue early in the ball game. Ibanez cutting in front of Gurriel early in the game when Cuban shortstop Barbaro Arruabarruena collided with Gurriel. It was the shortstop's play, and I think this time Gurriel realized it and let him have it. And here's Simmons, the leadoff man, and he's been busy. He's been on base 3 times, a pair of singles, a walk. He scored twice and driven in a run.
And you can bet he is looking for something to hit on the first pitch. 2 big runs on base, and he is all geared up to get something on the first pitch of this at bat. And with that, the catcher, Frank Morejón, is making sure that he and the pitcher are on the same page.
Breaking ball for a strike. And it's 0-1 to Simmons.
And drops down and gets that breaking ball in there for strike one.
Foul back to the screen. It's good to see that the Japanese crowd has come out to see this game. Obviously, the ballpark is not filled. 42,000 is what it holds. But I mean, this is not like college basketball or football where the Netherlands travels well, where fans of these teams, especially with the games over in Asia, can follow them and travel around the country. And the home team, Japan, plays tonight against Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, it'll be a totally packed house tonight as they want to see the home team get off to a great start. This is the home of the Yomiuri Giants during the regular season. There are 7 Giant players on the Japanese team, so you can bet this will be a rocking house tonight.
The Giants are the flagship franchise. And of course, they have the greatest player in Japanese history of Chinese descent, Sadahara Oh. We visited that museum in Fukuoka. Iglesias starts off the mound. We've seen that a half a dozen times in this tournament on a pitch that looks well in, and half the team starts towards the dugout. I mean, maybe that works in Cuba.
Well, they do it all the time. I've watched them for years, and I don't care who the pitcher is, who the catcher is. They're always very animated.
2-2 to Simmons. Hit him. Bags are loaded, and here comes the man of the hour for the Netherlands. Japan has had trouble scoring runs, and the news is not good for them tonight because Chin-Ming Wong was dominant in his win over Australia.
Got that sinking fastball working again. He went 6 innings, allowed 4 hits. And in our meetings with Chinese Taipei, they raved about his health and how well the ball is coming out of his hand. He is a free agent, and certainly a lot of the big league scouts that are in attendance here at the Tokyo Dome anxious to see Chin-Ming Wong in person.
If there's a Baltimore scout here, and I'm sure there is, Baltimore has always had a nice relationship with the Netherlands and players from Curacao and Aruba. A game coming up later tonight. That scout has got his chest stuck out a little further after watching Jonathan Schoop, 3-run homer, RBI double, also doubled in the 2nd inning. So he has driven in 4 of the 6 runs. Fastball up and in, 2-0. Victor Mesa, the manager, this has got to be his 9th or 10th visit to the mound.
Yeah, and there are no restrictions to the number of times he goes to the mound. There's normal restrictions as you have in the major leagues as far as per inning and all of that stuff. But over the course of the game, he's gone back out there several times. He's trying to calm down his young right-hander in this situation.
He's got the ball in his glove again. That means 2 things. He's going to change pitchers, and Alfonso Marquez is going to make him change baseballs. We'll keep an eye on it. Well, he did it again. Victor Mesa on that trip grabbed the ball with his batting gloves. The umpires have told him not to. And once again, well, he keeps it this time. And walking towards Alfonso Marquez, he throws the ball by Marquez towards home plate. Marquez let him go. And I think Marquez has done a terrific job of keeping his composure in this spot.
Yeah, and Alfonso Marquez actually said something to Mesa as he went off the field, but he kept him in the ballgame, didn't throw him out. Alfonso Marquez probably thinking, you know what? If I'm going to stay out here and agonize over all these pitching changes, so are you.
Well, Diasdani Castillo inherited a 2-0 count to Jonathan Schoop, and now it's 3-0, and there's no place to put Schoop. 6-2 Netherlands. Bags loaded, 2 outs in the 9th. And there's a strike. Schoop has been terrific in this one. He struck out in the 1st, doubled in the 2nd, 3-run homer in the 6th, RBI double in the 8th.
Cuba has used 7 pitchers here this afternoon.
It's been a quick hook all day long. Schoop ready. 3-1 pitch. And he had a home run swing there on that back foot. He really tried to spin on a ball.
But Mesa understands what's at stake here. If they lose this game to the Netherlands, they come right back tomorrow and play the loser of the 2nd game tonight. And then the prospects of an early departure. Cuba was bumped out of round 2 in 2009.
3-2 pitch. Breaking ball, chopper towards short, backing up is Ibanez, goes to first and got him at first. A nice pick by Abreu. And even getting an out doesn't make Victor Mesa real happy. 6-2 Netherlands, 3 outs to get. 6-2 Netherlands. And the bottom of the 9th has arrived for both Cuba and the Netherlands. And that means the big man, and I do mean big. 7'1", 260, Luc van Meel out of the Netherlands, comes in and tries to close this game. Alfredo Despain, Yulieski Gurriel, and Frank Morajon, the catcher, and the Netherlands catcher, Dashenko Ricardo, just got hit. Hanley Stacia has come into the ball game, and Stacia is now at 2nd base.
Ricardo took one awkwardly off his catching thumb. And Hensley Mulin's the manager out to help him. You can see that he got turned around. Actually may have hit him on the back of the hand, but he take a look at this first pitch from Luc van Meel. And he just had that.
Oh, he got hit by the bat.
Yeah.
He got hit on the backswing.
Yeah, we have seen that with Despain throughout this tournament. Big follow through.
And Despain pops one up. Smith. Jerry Davis right on the rail for that one. And it's into the seats. And out of play, it's 0-2.
Yeah, Despain has a real wicked follow through with that bat. He turns the top hand loose and extends it all the way behind him. Catchers really have to be aware of that. You got to back up about 6 to 10 inches. Make sure you don't get in harm's way. And I'm sure that Dashenko Ricardo is backed up a little bit after getting hit on that first pitch.
Despain has homered. The man on deck, Gurriel, has homered. But those are the only 2 runs for the Cubans. Breaking ball, fly ball, center field. Bernardina calling, Bernardina catching, and the Netherlands needs 2 outs. No longer happy just to be in the 2nd round. The Netherlands arriving here having gone 2-1 in Taichung as the number 2 seed out of Pool B. But they haven't played like a 2 seed. They have been outstanding in this ball game. 5 double plays, big home runs, big hits, and a manager that has been calm and cool and collected, in great contrast to the other side of the diamond. To Simmons, to first, in time. Gurriel is out, and the Netherlands is an out away from an opening day win in round 2. And what's at stake? If the Netherlands wins this ball game, they are a win away from San Francisco. They would go right to game 4 and get the winner of tonight's game, Japan and Chinese Taipei.
Hensley Mulin's very calm. Bert Blyland to his left, the pitching coach. They've gotten a good effort today. They've given up 12 hits, but because of their great defense, that hasn't really had an impact. Only 2 runs allowed. Osbani Peraza comes on to pinch hit for Frank Morejon.
Peraza is the 3rd catcher for Cuba, and he takes a fastball. John Roush is the tallest player in Major League history. Now pitching for the Miami Marlins. Luke Van Meel's got him by a couple inches. Sharp ground ball. Stacia has it. And the Netherlands beats Cuba to open up round 2. Impressive stuff from last year's Cinderella. Cinderella no more. They are 1-0 and a win away from San Francisco.
Jagomar Marquel was beaten by the Cubans in 2006 in the WBC, and you can see the frustration in the Cuban dugout. Marquel will pick up the win. He did a great job of challenging the Cubans to put the ball in play, and he got great support by his offense and especially by his defense.
Kurt Smith started it, Jonathan Schoop finished it, and the Netherlands wins it. 4 more games, beginning with the second half of the doubleheader. Japan and Chinese Taipei. Check your local listings. For Buck Martinez, I'm Rich Waltz. For now, goodbye to the Tokyo Dome. The proceeding has been a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic.